beginning, there was nothing. And then there was the Drunken Peasants Podcast.
I gotta get a witness. No!
Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man.
I don't have facts to back this up.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
That's true. Sometimes I cry.
Oh! Lick my butthole, he laughed.
From the strangest corners of the internet, here to bring you opinions of the world from an altered perspective. Here are your hosts, the Drunken Peasants.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Drunken Peasants Podcast, episode 1241.
Do it live!
Back again, doing it live for 1241. And it's a Tuesday show, first show of the week. Want to remind everyone to please give the stream a thumbs up. That helps out tremendously. That'll bring more people in here. YouTube isn't straightforward. If you subscribe, they may or may not notify your subscribers that you're live. Giving a thumbs up always helps out with that. Also, check out the pre-show through all of our audio podcast platforms. I have it linked in the description, but you can also check it out through Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere you get your podcasts. Check it out. The last several episodes have had a pre-show, and they're pretty fun. It's us setting up and just the things we discuss before we go on the air. Now it's available for you to hear. So check that out. It supports the show. Follow it, subscribe to it, whatever they call it. Every platform calls it something different. Also, Tip Train, early Tip Train. Help us with the Tip Train. Link pinned there in the chat. The Tip Train helps the Tip Train, helps the Tip Train, and helps everything keep it going with the Tip Train. So don't forget about the Tip Train. Also, I'm going to post this other thing in the chat here. One of our other sponsors, Vance Global. Get a cool discount on all of your legal Delta 8 CBD needs. Check it out. That's another thing that supports the show, and you get something good for yourself. And for those of you who aren't watching live, I've also linked that in the description below. Get a cool discount. Our users have been using Vance Global products for almost a year now, and I hear nothing but rave reviews. I even heard they don't even charge taxes for some areas, so the price you agree to pay is the price you get. I don't know. I don't even know. Use our link. Use our codes at checkout to get discounts. Check it out. And that's all I got for the shilling segment. Everyone's favorite segment.
For those of you that have access to a Fred Meyer grocery store, if you use the app, you can get grapes, black, green, or red, 99 cents a pound. Today is the last day. Oh my God, I bought 6 pounds of grapes today.
Okay. All right. Well, everyone give the stream a like, and we are going to check out the news segment in just a moment here. Here is that.
He called me sir. It got me so fuming angry.
People are discriminating against wolves.
Wow. They're laughing at us, at our stupidity.
To do the fun idea of starting the goal at -800 and get out of the red Cobra's die.
All right, so that was from Seth Looks, and I guess I'll do it for fun this month. I'll do it right now, and I'll count your $5 towards it, Seth.
So minus $795 to get out of the red?
Get out of the red. Give me just a second here. I'll reset that.
It's messed up. I wish you guys wouldn't mock me for having my bank account in the red. I just need, it's like you don't have to dono, guys. But if you want to, we could do cool stuff like food hacks. I could do grape hacks. I could mix red grapes with black grapes and green grapes. See what type of flavor that is. That's a good grape hack. Does that make purple? I don't know. We're going to be doing grape hacks for donos. Hank Chill says he only likes Concord grapes. I was thinking, nice little side business. I'm going to hire an e-girl of prominent fame to come and foot stomp all the grapes. I'll buy a ton of grapes, have her foot stomp the grapes. I'll take pictures of her feet stomping the grapes. Give her a cut of the wine. We'll release.
All right. Sorry to interrupt this.
Vintner.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Billy's Vintner.
Okay. Can we not?
Girl stomped wine. Can't what, Ben? You were doing work. I'm doing the show, Ben. What?
The show isn't about grapes. But anyway,
the show's about you doing work, and I'm saving the show. Can we?
Okay.
I
have an announcement to make.
Oh my God. Okay. Good. Let's go.
So I can't set a negative goal, so I'm setting it back.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, so I'm setting it right back, but I am going to count the $5, so we are $5 in. Goal for bonus show. All right, there it is. Okay.
There we go.
All right.
Counts no longer in the negative.
Yeah, we can't do it that way, unfortunately. All right, so I guess Joe, obviously, on the anniversary of 9/11, the president's going to go out and say some stuff. That's normal, you know. But Biden is making claims about 9/11, I guess, that are contradictory to claims he made years ago. So let's see what's going on with that.
Ground Zero in New York. And I remember standing there the next day. And
I feel like he's going to start talking about Werther's Original or something.
Looking at the building, I felt like I was looking through the gates of hell.
So he's claiming he was there on the day of the attack and he was looking at it through a window, right? Is that what he just said? Is that what you heard?
Did he say through a window? He said he was looking at.
Let's see.
The day after, and it was like looking through the gates of hell. He could have been.
Okay, let's see.
Ground Zero in New York.
Ground Zero in New York.
And I remember standing there the next day.
So he's claiming he was in New York the next day, right? That's
what it sounds like.
Okay.
Staring at Ground Zero the next day.
The next day. He was there. All right.
And looking at the building, I felt like
the buildings were not there the next day. You couldn't look at them. They were completely collapsed. They were a pile of wreckage.
He said he was looking at Ground Zero, right?
He said I was looking at the buildings. Maybe he means the wreckage of the buildings, but the buildings had completely collapsed.
They were there in a pile.
I was looking through the gates of hell. It looked so devastating because the way from where you could stand.
Because of the way from where you could stand.
Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Okay, he's jumping to Pennsylvania. All right.
Shanksville, Pennsylvania. The Pentagon in Virginia. I spent many 9/11s in those hallowed grounds to bear witness and remember.
You know what? I get what he's saying because that was where the one plane crashed in the field. Okay.
Yeah.
I get that.
Those we lost. Every day, but especially the last few days, their memory has been with me. My fellow Americans, September 11th, 2001, tested our strength, our resolve, and our courage. The billowing smoke and ash that darkened the clear blue sky that September day. The shredded steel and concrete slabs that rained down from the World Trade Center. The plume of fire that shot up in the sky in Pentagon. I remember seeing as I got off the Amtrak train on my way to...
He has this squintiness in his eyes that almost looks like it's painful.
And into the earth in Shanksville, a testament to the unbreakable courage and resolve of the American people.
Yeah, so there's that one. And then this is the Fox News take on it.
President Biden facing growing criticism for how he commemorated the 22nd anniversary of September 11th. First, Biden ditched tradition and he didn't attend any of the memorial ceremonies at the attack sites, but instead he was at a military base in Alaska. And there he began his remarks by cracking a pretty odd joke. Who jokes on the anniversary of 9/11 as your first remarks? Putting that aside, he also
Who jokes 22 years after
Ground Zero,
a
just
tragedy?
1 day after the attack.
I think we joke all the time after tragedy. It helps people heal. Like, what was the joke? I need to know how bad because if the joke bombed, that's one thing. But can we hear the joke, please?
even though we all know, we have the facts, we'll show you, he was in Washington at the time.
Governor Dunleavy, it's good to see you. Governor and I have something in common. We're both from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I wish I had him playing in my high school ball club that I was playing. But I could have been an All-American having you in front of me. When evil attacked, Ground Zero in New York, and I remember standing there the next day and looking at the building. I felt like I was looking through the gates of hell. It looked so devastating because from where you could stand.
One problem, he was not there the day after September 11th. We have the facts. And then on the same day, the nation remembered the worst terrorist attack on U.S. soil. President Biden announced a prisoner swap with Iran, a country his administration designates as a state sponsor of terrorism. Harris, I mentioned we have the facts. In President Biden's own autobiography, 2007 book, he wrote, this is about the day after September 11th. I headed back to the Capitol the next morning. We also have a Wire report that the New York Post highlighted. It's a Gannett Newswire report, and they say Delaware Senator Joe Biden spent Wednesday exactly where he wanted in the U.S. Senate. And then roll tape. We actually have tape of him on the Senate floor. This is on September 12th, 2001. So why would he tell us this truth yesterday?
Biden, no. This is the best he can do at this point. And if this had not been on display before that, we certainly know it now.
How long is a train ride from D.C. to New York? You think he took the train ride up afterwards? You think he went to go check it out as he was an American politician and would want to get his photo up there as soon as possible? You can get from D.C. to New York in a couple of hours, right?
Yeah, it looks like.
I don't know why you would do that during the tragedy. I feel like you'd want to stay away if you weren't a first responder, but
it's like 3 to 3.5 hours.
I think I haven't done DC to New York, but I've done Jersey to DC, and I know that Washington DC to Jersey was the train before when I got on the Jersey train. So it was like it seemed to be a similar distance between the two. So 3 hours makes it about right. I think I was on the train for like an hour from Jersey to New York or something. I don't know. But I know that Washington, D.C. was the line stop before that. So it's totally possible that he took a train up, a helicopter. He could have swam. He could have had a yacht.
That in his heart, that it was the very next day.
He could have transported.
But it's not true. And we've seen him do this over and over and over. We saw him do this with the train he said he always took, and that he knew the conductor or somebody on the train. And the family has spoken up many times and said, well, at the time that he puts our relative at, he was deceased. So that's not actually possible. This is the best that he can do for us and for himself. And resoundingly, it's not enough. Mm-hmm. And I feel for him. I mean, he is aging before our eyes, going into retirement while still on the job. But I agree, this is not about age.
I think Trump's crazy in his own way, too. He doesn't seem as mentally detached, but he's definitely not sane, too. And I think his age feeds into that.
I don't know exactly what the president has to do. He is kind of a figurehead decision maker. He puts people he's worked with and networked with into positions beneath him to do a lot of the work. Biden may still be able to do a lot of the presidential duties that are necessary for him to run our country. I'm not sure about that. I would like to see if his administration, how effective they have been, how many mistakes they've made. Like leading up to 9/11, all the things that were ignored by the Bush administration, who seemed to be of sound body and mind, to get to the point where we could even have these attacks on American soil when it looked like there were warning signs that were being ignored. Things like that worries me. 22 years later, the guy saying, I was there next day. Maybe he wasn't there next day.
No,
maybe he was there a week later. You know, he was there on memorials. You know, he was there year after year after year. You know, he continued to be a politician running for vice president and president after 9/11. It's not like he has been a complete absent-minded person this entire time. We don't know exactly how much work he can or cannot do. Fox News telling us that he can't do it because he misremembered a day. If he misremembered a day, I don't trust them. I don't trust Biden either, but not because of this.
Kellyanne, I think you said it. This is about the ability to do the job at any age. Mm-hmm. And if he had problems finding the truth before, which certainly Republicans are unearthing that right now with regard to their 3 Republican-led investigations, then with no memory or a collapsing memory, it's going to be really hard to find the truth now.
Yeah.
At those big moments. But something else struck me, and I mentioned this on
Do
the air
we
just
need the
briefly
truth
yesterday,
of whether or not he was at New York City the day after? Is this an important thing?
It's weird. I'm hoping he's just wrong, like mistaken about it, and not just outright lying.
Hey, I think we should be paying more attention to him talking to the kids at the pool about rubbing his legs. Like that's something we should worry about. Him not being there the day after or the week later or whatever day he was actually there. That corn pop story is the psycho story. This nothing.
We need politicians that are better at lying.
Strongly about it today. Kamala Harris was ready for that backdrop of 9/11 at ground zero. She was ready. She told us at least 3 or 4 times in the last several days, most recently to Margaret Brennan, because I think you and I talked about that yes, I am ready for the job to be president. He's called her president a couple of times in his own administration. Flub-ups, yes, but prophecy, who knows? But at this point, she steps up as he sits down, and the whole time he was standing there in Alaska, we were watching, my team was watching yesterday afternoon. His eyes were down, downward, and he was swaying. And I thought, good Lord, don't let him fall. Because if he falls from a standing position, we got big problems as a nation. How do you...
He fell off a bike and he was fine.
If he can't even stand, how can he defend our country single-handedly from all the atrocities the world has for us? If he can't even stand.
Pretty sure we had a president that couldn't stand.
Yeah, FDR was in a polio wheelchair, right?
I don't know if it was polio, but it was something. I'm not sure what the illness was, but
and
yeah.
Taft's fat ass got stuck in a bathtub. It happens.
Even explain not giving that man a
Didn't Bush get a bruise from a pretzel?
George Bush Jr.?
I thought it was Bush Jr. that had a pretzel incident.
I don't remember that. I remember when Bush
Sr. puked out broccoli.
Yeah, in China.
At that point,
it's inconceivable. And Kellyanne, it was important to President Trump to show up on September 11th at various sites. I went with him to Shanksville. I know you were with him on several occasions. But if you're a staff member in the White House, you were senior counselor to the president, you'd think if your leader is not leading from the top and saying, I want to do this, someone would go to him and say, this is important, Mr. President. Someone would talk to him about his words if he's incapable of empathy. President Trump, it was always pitch perfect patriotism, love of country. Why can't he do that?
And in fairness, President Obama and President Bush also went. We have 22 consecutive years, except for this one, of presidents from both parties taking a quick trip to the Pentagon. It's pretty close to the White House. I don't think you need GPS to know that. Quick trip up to Ground Zero or over to Shanksville, Pennsylvania. But I think it was deliberative. Kaylee, I have a feeling that the advance teams already had 9/11 planned out for each of those presidents.
Why can't he visit one of the crash sites of 9/11? Every other president did. Why'd he go to Alaska? Is he suggesting Alaska's the target for the next 9/11? What the hell, Biden? What are you hiding from us?
There's no building there tall enough.
Is in Alaska.
What would you like to do? Nobody is capable of doing that with President Biden. And by the way, nobody is capable of cleaning up his provable lies. That's what gets me about yesterday. When he says where he was on September 12th, nobody expected him to be here on September.
It's provable. We don't know if it's a lie necessarily because they themselves say he's incompetent and can't remember shit all the time. So it could just be that.
But this lie has zero consequence. We know he saw 9/11, the towers. We know he saw them after the devastation. At some point afterwards, he had to have visited and saw and had the same feelings, whether it was a day later, a week later, a year later, 10 years later. You can go there and look at the ground zero and feel the similar things and remember the way it was versus the way it has been. Like this is such a tiny thing to be hung up on. Yes, Biden is probably out of his fucking mind, but let's make proof of that before we're like, he's lying. He's maybe dumb. That's worse.
September 12th. I expected him to be here on September 11th this year. The problem is that he wasn't here this year, 22 years later. Not that he wasn't there. By the way, everybody who was in Washington was told to stay in Washington. President Bush himself couldn't get up here.
She's quite the political chameleon. Because
is Kellyanne Conway?
Yeah, because she worked for Trump, and then she had a falling out with Trump, and I think before that she was against Trump, and now she's on Fox News being, the typical political chameleon.
To give the famous speech because it was toxic. They were cleaning up. We all know what happened. So I don't like that this White House can't even say he misspoke. In fact, he's been to Ground Zero so many times that he misremembered the year he was there. And say something, but the jokes, they're not funny. Playing the lullaby as he's leaving the stage and telling everybody that he's going to sleep. It's not funny. Harris, I have to respectfully disagree. I don't feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for this country.
Yes. Oh, I feel sorry for both.
That's right. I want people to start listening to his words. If we just talk about bumbling, stumbling, mumbling, we're going to get him again as president. I want them to start listening to what he's saying.
In those words, Emily,
and,
so he ended
and what he said was 22 years ago, he was not at 9/11 the day after. We can prove that. But everything else he said, where's the actual lie? If we're gonna nitpick over whether it was a day later, a week later, or whatever, like that's one thing. But where is the hurt in misremembering what day? I understand if you dislike the guy, you can nitpick about this, but you're not going to beat him by calling out the mumbles, remembering the mumbles. You're not going to beat him by nitpicking either. There's hard hitting shit you could target him with. You'd be like, look, the fact that he's stumbling over this stuff, misremembering, that's weird. But this is just one in many events where it looks like he has some senility. But you can't pull that one because on the other end, you got Mitch McConnell actually dropping off the face of the earth mid-conversation. Biden might be stumbling, but he makes it through in a rambling grandpa kind of way. And his motor skills might be weakened, but his mental skills might still be effective in the position. When Mitch McConnell's just like, turtle, we got a problem. That's a problem. But you can't attack that one right now because you got a guy of your own with great prominence and power worse. So you want to nitpick these little things about lies. You know what Mitch McConnell couldn't lie about? Anything. He couldn't say anything. He could just sit there in turtle mode. So you can target him with this nitpicky lie.
He visited Ground Zero, I think it was more than a week later. So he incorrectly said it was the day after. I want to point that out. But he always
so he was there a week later
himself into tragedy. And we saw this in Maui when he talked about the house fire. And we also saw it when he spoke to a Gold Star mother who lost her child, one of those 13 heroes in Afghanistan.
It's funny because they were dismissing all of the dumb shit that Bush said when Bush was president.
Oh, yeah. Bush was a machine for saying some off the wall weird shit. And looking back on it, as much as I disliked Bush in my young liberal mind coming from Seattle, Washington, looking back on it, he was kind of a decent president. I hate saying that. He was more likable than these new pigs.
He was more.
I'll say that.
He was more likable in some ways. The way he started two wars, that the cost of those wars. I
don't blame that on Bush. That really seems like a push that our government wanted to go through and the corporations wanted to go through. Halliburton wanted to go through. They wanted to privatize the entire process, made a lot of people money.
He controlled.
I think Bush was a pawn in that.
He ultimately decides what the military does and what everyone does. Like his signature gets put on it. So
yeah, his signature was put on it, but who put him in that place? He was a pawn.
We'll disagree on that. I don't believe everything's a weird conspiracy. I think some things are just face value. It's more interesting to think everything's a conspiracy theory. Yeah, Dick Cheney was involved.
Being former Halliburton and then giving Halliburton all the contracts. You can see the money trail of all the earnings. You could see the people who were invested in that war.
And there was also
how closely they were connected to the Bush family.
Well, I mean, there was also a personal issue There was also a personal vendetta Bush had against Saddam Hussein because there was an actual assassination attempt on George Bush Sr.
You follow the money with the Carlyle Group, who Bush Sr. was a part of. You can see why he was going over there and waging the wars and pushing it. Like they made their money. It was the money trail is there. You could see everybody involved in how rich they got and how they took things in the military that had been done by the troops for decades, if not centuries, and they privatized them. Just let Halliburton come in and take all this work for privatized warfare. That's the sick part to me.
Yeah, I think there was both political and economic reasons why they did it to benefit themselves. I don't believe it's solely just Halliburton pulling the strings.
And on Joe Biden's watch, here's what she had to say about how the president inserted himself into her tragedy.
Myself and the other families of our 13 were waiting for the plane arrival to the United States. When Joe Biden, our elected president, entered the room, when he approached me, his words to me were, my wife Jill and I know how you feel. We lost our son as well and brought him home in a flag-draped coffin.
But his son died of like cancer or something. He didn't die in... I hope he really didn't say this, but who knows? Who knows?
My heart started beating faster. And
It's not the same thing. I guess maybe he was trying to relate to this person whose son, I guess, died.
Losing a child in any form is heartbreaking and could maybe be used as a bonding experience with somebody to let them know you've been through great heartache. But this is not, I think this is uncouth. And I think Biden is the type of person to be tone deaf to situations. He's comes from a great existence of privilege. A lot of the things he said long before being president have been very privileged. His stance on the schooling, busing in people of color in schools, his stance on the 3 strikes and you're out, and then having a son who he's given 1,000 outs to in his crackhead career. He is on the fucked side of politics. Corn pop, shit he did to corn pop.
Started shaking, knowing that their son died from cancer and they were able to be by his side. Also wondering how someone could honestly, be so heartless to say he knew how I felt a little over 24 hours and learning of my son's death.
Empathy does not start with I. We all know this. The continued pathetic nature of what comes out of this president's mouth to me is so beyond disheartening. I argue, actually, you said it well,
How many times
Harris,
did we have Trump go toe-to-toe with mourning people and have a weird moment? I swear I remember one that was like a really weird call.
Someone made a claim about something he said during a call. I can't remember what it was.
I think presidents really need to stick to a script written by a psychological professional in moments like this. They shouldn't be able to have their own heartfelt moments because, at least recently, a lot of our presidents are tone deaf when it comes to empathy and feelings. They're kind of in this high castle mode. They're so far away from everyone else. Trump, far away from the people he speaks to. But he speaks to them in a voice that tells them that he's going to take down the people who are far away from them and keeping them out of their happiness and homes. Trump speaks like he's going to come save the day to these people, so they listen. Biden, I don't know who ever has been excited about him, but he's definitely that high castle guy, career politician, never really been about the sway of the progressive people.
What if he falls from a standing position? He already has. He has fallen figuratively from a standing position, from the standing position that America held for so many years. The notion that what came out of this administration in defense of him going, or of him not being in one of the World Trade Center or Shanksville or Pentagon locations for the first time in 22 years, being that, well, Pearl Harbor, presidents were going to Pearl Harbor 22 years later. The patent offensive nature of that, the heartbreaking
I like how she pretends she's all offended by it.
concept
She takes the big
that
sigh.
a place becomes less important with age, that Americans are in less pain, even though more have died since September 11th from 9/11
I feel like she's
related.
talking into her TikTok camera phone right now. Like she's just, this is my really honest, deep, heartfelt TikTok. Like, swipe up if you agree. She's just fucking totally pandering to what people want to hear who are watching Fox News, I guess.
Injuries than they did on that day, and this president turns his back on that concept and then wraps it around his own finger for his own personal gain in a lie. It is unacceptable. To your point, everyone should listen to
In a
exactly
lie?
what's
It is unacceptable.
He said a day later when he was there a week later, after all the times he's revisited as vice president, president, and every other form he's revisited these sites over 22 years, he misspeaks. He misspeaks about whether it was a day or a week after. How could he?
coming out of this president's mouth. It is non-empathetic. It is wrong. It is a lie.
Stephen, his legacy of September 11th, 2020.
I will say it's non-empathetic. I don't think Biden can be accused of empathy. Never has been. If you look at his career, it's been a fucking staunch career against empathy. It's been for just backwards ass political capitalism. Has he I don't know what his exact stance has been, but it has been forward for the way America has moved as a whole. It's been booming progressively for capitalism, not so much for socialism. He's never been a real social candidate.
One is the Taliban raising a flag.
Exactly.
Over what should have been victory. And then his legacy in 2023 is unleashing $6 billion in funds to a state sponsor of terror, Iran.
Exactly. That's why this whole story captures the calamity of the Biden presidency, the performance, the absolute humiliation for this country to be led by someone.
He does kind of look like him.
Led is not even the right word. It's so humiliating for America. But the substance, to your point, it's the substance. He was sold to us as the great foreign policy guy, all that foreign policy experience. His foreign policy, among all the other catastrophes, is probably the worst, precisely for the point you made. That Afghanistan disaster led directly, not to the deaths of those people there, those American heroes, but to the Ukraine war. Putin wouldn't have invaded if it wasn't for Biden's Afghanistan catastrophe. What a disaster he's been.
That's right.
I don't know about that.
Stone catastrophe.
I don't think that's why Putin invaded. I think Putin invaded because he believed that there were regions of Ukraine that belonged to Russia, especially because of the large Russian population there. I don't think the Afghanistan war necessarily had anything to do with that.
Putin has been eyeing that area for a decade.
I think there are parts of Ukraine that were some of the original parts of Russia, if I remember correctly, without looking it up.
Yeah.
Quickly, we've been talking about how this is the first president in 22 years that hasn't gone to any of the attack sites. I would add in, or the White House. And Kellyanne, you're right. We knew last Thursday, because we have it on tape, the White House press secretary telling us that they knew that he wasn't going to be at one of those attack sites. They could have gamed it out then, moved around his refueling on his way back from the G20, and certainly at least touched him down to where he could speak from the White House and hold something there in the Rose Garden or wherever they were going to do it, or run around the corner to the Pentagon. A little bit more than the corner, but you can get there.
And his campaign strategy is to look presidential. Well, you can consider yesterday a massive, massive fail on that front.
There you go.
Fox News determination fail. Biden
the real
fail.
Real news, Fox News does not like Biden.
Yeah, but I don't think they like Trump either, so I don't know what they're going to do. I guess they'll just ride with Trump because that's who their viewer base supports.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Trump and all the criminality of everything.
Yeah, we're going to test that. Hunter Biden at the center of GOP's planned impeachment inquiry into President Biden. So they're going to try to use the Hunter Biden stuff to try and impeach Biden. And I hope I'm wrong, but I have a feeling no matter who's president going forward, the other side's going to try to impeach them. Like Trump got impeached twice. Now they're going to try to impeach Biden. I think that might be the new goal. Like, even if they don't think they have a good case, they'll just get an impeachment on the record to be like, look, so-and-so was impeached. And I think that's just the way it is now. Hopefully not.
Hopefully the way it will be is that a party will have to support somebody who's actually very squeaky clean and professional about politics. I think with Obama, we had someone who was young enough in his career that he didn't have a whole lot of ghosts in his closet. I think he was able to pretty much just do everything he did kind of with the guidance of how a president should do it. These guys like Biden, his workings had been so deep for decades that his son and his brother have been able to make business deals outside of the country that could be questionable and could be targeted. You look at Pelosi and the connection she has with her husband and the stock market, and it's really you kind of have to have someone who's not tied outside of politics with business and close family to avoid this. Maybe Trump, he asked for it in a lot of ways. Biden, like you said, it could be the thing normally, but these guys do have skeletons in their closet, whether or not they're impeachable. These are things people can target. Like if we targeted Bill Clinton for some cum on a dress and lying about trying to hide the fact that he had extramarital affairs, like that seems like so. The technicality they got him on is when he lied, he was under oath to a grand jury, which is a criminal offense. So that's how they got him. You shouldn't be expected to admit to getting a blowjob on a fucking grand jury. If you're under oath, you're expected to tell the truth about everything. So yeah, I think that you should be able to not answer personal questions like that. That's kind of fucked. If they pertain to the grand jury, then you do have to answer it. And his affair with Monica Lewinsky was part of what he was being investigated for, because it happened at work and there were things put into place at the federal level to try and cover that up. So he lied about it. Fucking at work. So then he lied about it, and then the dress with his DNA surfaced, and that was the smoking gun. That's how they got him. If there wouldn't have been like DNA evidence like that, he could have lied about it and got away with it. He probably didn't think that there was. So, and basically, I think it's the House. Yeah. I think the House of Representatives votes on the articles of impeachment, and then the Senate holds the trial. So all you need is the majority of the House to agree to bring charges, and then it's up to the Senate to actually have the trial. And I think that's like 2/3. So it's so impractical, especially today with how balanced a lot of this is. Getting 2/3 is almost impossible. You'd have to get 2/3 of the Senate for your party to even remove someone from office. If my wife has a direct line to the suicide hotline and can call in all the suicides she wants on her detractors, I'm definitely not going to admit to getting a blowjob under oath. That would scare the hell out of me. Poor Bill Clinton. All you ever want to do is get some suck. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, here it is.
Speaker Kevin McCarthy has directed
the
House committee to open an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. McCarthy says President Biden lied to the American public about his family's business dealings. The White House calls the announcement an example of, quote, extreme politics. McCarthy added the allegations paint a picture of a culture of corruption.
This logical next step will give our committees the full power to gather all the facts and answers for the American public. That's exactly what we want to know, the answers. I believe the president would want to answer these questions and allegations as well.
CBS News senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge joins us now. Catherine, before I come back to you, I'd like to play more of what Speaker McCarthy said and just get your reaction on the other side.
Biden used his official office to coordinate with Hunter Biden's business partners about Hunter's role in Burisma, a Ukrainian energy company. It appears that the president's family has been offered special treatment by Biden's own administration, treatment that not otherwise would have received if they were not related to the president.
What?
Catherine, he spoke of abuse.
There was privilege to being the president's son? There was someone here was the fortunate one?
Yeah.
Someone's getting away with it.
I don't think that's illegal. Like, all sorts of children of presidents and brothers of presidents and family members of presidents have gotten sweetheart deals. You know,
it ain't me. It ain't me.
Jobs where you you're not even required to show up. You're just like on the payroll.
I ain't no senator's son.
Use of power, obstruction, corruption.
Surprising.
And all part of what he called serious, incredible allegations. You've covered Hunter Biden extensively. What is he talking about?
Well, let's take it in two parts, Lilia. The first is a reference to internal White House emails that have now been made public by the National Archives. And it's an email exchange from December of 2015 between Hunter Biden's business partner, Eric Schwerin, and senior White House comms official, Kate Bedingfield. And they are exchanging comments or statements that surround Hunter Biden's joining of the board of the Ukraine energy firm Burisma. And the reason Republicans are pointing to these exchanges is that they're asking, why were they even in communication at all about his son's business deals if there was, in fact, this wall between then VP Joe Biden and his son and his brother's business affairs? The second goes to a larger question, which touches on the Justice Department investigation of Hunter Biden. Speaker McCarthy is referring to the allegations that there was preferential treatment that prevented investigators from taking typical steps in that investigation that they say may have led to Joe Biden himself.
And that is something that you have been covering extensively. Now,
I just don't know what's illegal about that.
I mean, maybe a lot. We don't know. We're not the law. Maybe this is worth impeaching. Do we not impeach presidents because we're not sure? Like this is the question.
Well, I think all that needs to happen is Congress has to vote on it, but they have to be impeaching him for something. I'm not 100% sure though exactly the ins and outs of it. I just know the majority of Congress has to, like the House has to vote on it, and if it does get approved, then there's a hearing that the Senate has to have. But I think you need 2/3 majority to remove someone from office, which is why they couldn't get Trump removed.
I don't think the Senate is going to be quick to voice their opinion on whether or not you should give privilege to your children. I feel like that's kind of a packed house. This is one of those that we're going to have to take to the town square, maybe draw some quarters on the cement below us.
How do you draw quarters? I'm not familiar with that. You mean drawing and quartering when you have horses pull someone apart?
I wouldn't say that, Ben. No, never that. Just going out to the town square and draw some quarters on the cement. It's time the people come back and draw some quarters. This is the future. This is the future. Go to your town square. Go to where the politicians hang out and just draw quarters.
Do you think could they draw the bicentennial quarters, or do you think they need to stick with the quarters with each state on the back of it?
Honestly, if they just draw a circle with a 25 and a cent sign in it, they're going to get the message. We're drawing quarters.
We think
the people
what
are
do
coming
you think
back.
Was the tipping
We're eating the
point
rich
here?
and we're paying 25 cents a serving. We're drawing quarters.
Makers who are not supporting an impeachment inquiry. What do you think pushed for him to announce this?
Well, 2 weeks ago, based on my reporting here at CBS News, senior GOP aides told me that the game changer for the House Speaker was, in fact, the testimony from these IRS whistleblowers. And not only this testimony under threat of perjury, but also the records that they provided to the House Ways and Means Committee. Their allegation was that they were blocked, their words, handcuffed from taking steps that might have led to Joe Biden. And they also felt the evidence supported much more significant felony charges, especially in the tax case. And it was that universe of information that really propelled the speaker to take that extra step to consider an impeachment inquiry. And this comes not in a vacuum. We know that additional records have been provided to the House Ways and Means Committee that could soon vote them out and make them public. And my understanding is that it could be more records like these WhatsApp messages where Republicans said that it seemed clear that Hunter Biden was using his father to pressure one of his business partners.
What you're detailing is, a series of items that, of course, they're going to be looking into if this impeachment inquiry moves forward. The Biden
what you're detailing here is crackhead behavior.
Yeah.
Look, if you don't give me another $800,000, then my dad come over here and kick your ass.
We a lot of our recent presidents, a lot of the ones I remember, like their kids were like too young to get jobs. Like Chelsea Clinton was too young and the two Obama girls were too young. But I don't know what, I guess George W. Bush, what was he doing while his dad was president? He owned the Texas Rangers and shit. And I guess he was in the oil industry too. I wonder if he leveraged any deals because his dad was president. I don't know.
I'm sure. I'm sure he leveraged a deal becoming governor of Texas because his dad was president.
Well, the weird thing is like Biden is so old that he has like the oldest like kids that a president has ever had. You know what I mean? Like like they're old enough to be president. Yeah. Like, and I don't know if that's ever happened before. I don't know. Maybe Reagan's kids, maybe. It's funny, in the 80s, everyone acted like Reagan was so old, but he's so much younger than Trump and Biden. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he'd been a Hollywood movie star for decades.
Yeah.
He'd done a lot with his life. Then he got into politics as governor of California.
First, he was a Democrat originally. It's interesting. And he's the last Republican to win California in a presidential election. So think about that.
A Democrat originally?
Yeah, he was originally a Democrat.
Reminds me of another celebrity turned Republican president.
Yeah, it's true.
Interesting.
It's true. Yeah, there's a famous quote from him that I can't remember verbatim, but it was like, yes, for years I was a liberal Democrat. Basically talking about how he was a Democrat until 1962, and then he became a Republican.
He was like, I was a Democrat until Nancy settled down and stopped sucking off the rest of Hollywood.
I'm trying to see. I don't remember when he took. I don't know if he took office. I don't know. When he became governor. His fucking Wikipedia article is so long.
Has already responded, calling McCarthy a, quote, Trump campaign super surrogate. What do you make of that response? And do you see the White House, President Biden, the Biden family, being successful at continuing to dismiss this as just a political, I don't want to use witch hunt because that's a Trump term, but a political motivation?
Yeah, you know what? When I said Biden was the only president who had kids old enough to be president, I forgot about Trump, and Trump's the second oldest president ever. Seth Looks brought up Ron Reagan Jr. I don't think he was old enough to be I don't think he was 35
Probably
or older.
Not when,
yeah.
Probably not when his dad was in office. Yeah. I think it's interesting though. Trump, his kids, I think out of his kids, Ivanka has the best chance of being a president.
Ivanka admitted that she accepts the election results. That's why we haven't seen from her in a while. She's on the record saying
which would probably be better for her running for president at that point. I still think she might give it a run and another maybe after Biden's out. If Biden gets another 4 years,
I don't think so. I don't see it happening.
She worked with the White House during her dad's reign, right? Like she was in there. Kushner was in there.
Yeah, she won't be in there next time. So even if Trump wins, I don't think we'll see Ivanka involved in politics for a while.
Unless she
I don't
branches
believe
out
it
on
all.
her own.
I don't see it happening, but anything's possible.
Clearly, impeachment is almost always political in nature.
Why don't you see it happening? Is there any like reasoning behind that, or is it just because?
Well, first of all, she's already gone outside of the narrative that the political base that elected her father still rolls with, and I think she's seen what public life is like, and it's not as easy as just being a rich person and living a private life. So I don't think she thirsts for power to the same degree that her father does, and she can just enjoy being filthy rich and famous and good looking without having to take all the shit that you take once you become a politician.
She might actually think she can do something good, though.
I don't agree, but that's all speculation, and we can't really say one way or the other. I think she saw the way her dad's life was before he was president and how it became after, and it was a lot easier and a lot more. It was a lot less bullshit to put up with. So I don't see her wanting to do that. But I don't know her
I wouldn't be
personally.
surprised if she did. I think with as hands-on as Kushner was, her husband, it could be a political path, and she could be the figurehead. Having disavowed the idea that the election was rigged gives her a credibility overall with both parties that might be, puts her in a better position. But also being his daughter, she's going to get his approval whether or not she thinks the election was stolen, and he probably would push her to the demographic that loved him, despite her not following.
I would not assume
every footstep.
I would not assume anyone gets Trump's approval, especially if they disagree with him. I don't see it. I think you're reaching. I think you're reaching far to make this make sense.
I think she's one to look out for coming up, because who else is? Who else do we have in these positions that could be a Republican or even a Democrat, maybe AOC? Like who's really someone who the people could get behind and could play a presidential role? We're not seeing these front runners right now.
Someone else will come up eventually.
Men. Yeah, but do we see anybody right now?
No, but we're in the midst of an election season right now, and the presumptive nominees have already been selected. So,
yeah, not for this cycle. I don't think she would run this cycle.
Right, but we're not going to be. There's not going to be anyone on the horizon right now until this cycle is completed. So,
they should be building up the front runners, the forerunners for the next 12 years, right?
They don't normally do that.
Young. They should be, though. Like, there's no reason why. Well, I don't know if they don't normally do that. Like you have people who find their way into that position that have been governors, senators, things like that. I saw when Obama was getting pushed, I thought that they kind of fast tracked him over Hillary. I thought Hillary was going to get the nod. And when Obama got it, I think they kind of jumped the gun with him, but it worked. He got 8 years. But you could see him blooming before 2008. You could see his trajectory being built. Cheech Wizard says, Billy, you're so ignorant on politics. That's why I'm asking questions. I'm not telling you anything, am I? I'm asking and I'm suggesting. Would you like to educate? Could we get Cheech Wizard on the show, please?
No, we can't.
Cheech Wizard, come on the show, Cheech Wizard.
No, thank you.
Educate me on politics. Let's have a discussion with Cheech Wizard.
No, thank you. Yeah, they don't do that. Obama surprised a lot of people because he had like a fiery speech at the convention. That like the convention where it was John Kerry versus George Bush. But no one really picked him to be a presidential candidate that quickly. He gained some traction and then won Iowa, and then no one thought he would beat Hillary, but he did. But that was not like ordained like even 4 years before it happened. he kind of came up out of nowhere. It was even questionable whether or not he would run for president. They're not building. The only build you're going to see right now is anyone who does well in the primaries. So if someone surprises everyone and beats DeSantis, and then maybe Trump chooses them as a running mate or something like that, you'll see that. But chances are the people running 4 years from now are a lot of them are going to be people you don't even know about right now. They do that a lot.
Well, we need to, look, I think AOC might run for president if she continues her trajectory.
Maybe, yeah. See, the thing is like the benefit of choosing someone that's not known now is there's less time between now and then for them to fuck up and ruin their reputation in the spotlight. So they kind of bring them out when you're like, oh, who is this person? Why are they running for president? I never heard of them before. And then they can kind of build a narrative as to who they are at that point. Whereas now, anyone who they're like, ooh, this is the person to look out for in 4 to 8 years. It's like, well, what? People will be watching them like a hawk, waiting for them to fuck up.
Well, I think we do groom people, though. Like there is, you can see people who are hitting the positions and making the strides and looking presidential. I don't know what even looking presidential looks like anymore. Ever since Trump and Biden came in, it just doesn't have the same appeal as like a JFK.
Well, there hasn't been another JFK, but Biden looks more presidential than Trump. If he was 10 years younger, he'd be the archetype of a president, the stereotypical president. That's what he was when he was a senator and ran for president the first 10 times he ran. But we don't have that.
M85.
Yeah.
M85 in the chat says Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom definitely has a presidential feel to him. He could be somebody I could see being a president in 4 to 12 years.
I could see him running for president. I don't think he would ever win the presidency. I think. No, I don't see it.
But why do you not see it? Just because of how disliked he is by the right?
He's
not liked enough by the left.
He is moderately disliked by even a fair share of Democrats in California. But I don't know. I mean, he would win California. I just don't. I think he's already too far out there, and they'll look for somebody else when it comes to who will run. We'll see what happens in the next 4 years. I don't think Ivanka will be even in the picture. Gavin Newsom could be in the picture. I don't think he's going to win anything. That's where I'm at with this.
The masses will vote for the person they recognize. It does really come down to that a lot of the times. You'll see politicians with popular names retake areas in their region where someone with the same name has won before. You do see that the children of politicians continuing tradition because of name recognition. It really does come down to some popularity contest.
It goes the other way too. At this point, someone named Bush, it'd be pretty hard to get them elected. On the Republican side, especially, they don't even want to touch that. And plus, Bush
didn't like Bush.
Go ahead.
They didn't like Bush for the longest time, but they have kind of been warming up to him ever since his little cute relationship with Michelle Obama, where they give each other a piece of candy. So the hatred they had for Bush immediately after his presidential run has dissolved a bit because he's played the political game afterwards. You know, your legacy as a president really comes down to how you continue the legacy of the country. And you see a lot of presidents that were like, even Nixon, like after a while, you kind of got over what had happened.
I don't agree at all, but I don't want to discuss it. I don't want to discuss it. I want to move on to something else. Let's
move on.
All right. Here is GOP demands unredacted emails in Hunter
Jason
Biden
Chaffetz, this is part of his job in Congress, former House Oversight Committee chair, now Fox News contributor, among other things. Jason, good afternoon to you. What Comer claims is that the business associates on behalf of Hunter Biden were reaching deep into the West Wing of the White House when Joe Biden was vice president. Here's one of the quotes, email from Comer on screen. He writes, on December 4th, 2015 at 10:45 a.m., in an email with the subject of quotes, Eric Schwerin, a longtime Biden family business associate, wrote to Kate Bedingfield, the office of the VP, providing quotes the White House should use in response to media outreach regarding Hunter Biden's role in Burisma, a Ukrainian energy company. Later that day at 2:30 p.m., Ms. Bedingfield responded to Mr. Schwerin saying VP signed off on this. I also believe this is the time, I think you were 3 days before then Vice President Joe Biden went to Ukraine and made that now infamous comment about firing the prosecutor. When you were doing jobs like these in Washington, how long did it take you on oversight to get the documents that you were pursuing?
Oh, in a lot of cases we didn't. I mean, in cases we were pursuing, the Hillary Clinton case, the IRS whistleblower case, they just destroyed them. I mean, they literally by the tens of thousands destroyed them, even though they were under subpoena and there were no consequences. But supposedly in this case, NARA, the archives, has these records. And what you want to do, Bill, is triangulate it. You want to be able to, there's somebody sending it and somebody receiving it, right? So if you can get them from both, you got to compare and see if they're actually the same email and exactly what do they say together. And then you want to be able to look to the witnesses and others who may have been copied on this. Once you do that, you have the full record. That's what James Comer is trying to do.
Look at the pictures of Hunter Biden they choose. He just looks like an insane crackhead. Like, this is at some kind of event where he's wearing a suit. I don't know if it's the inauguration or what it is, but he looks all cracked out.
He's got a big, weird look on his face.
Yeah.
They do this all the time, though.
Yeah.
They always, and the CNN will do Trump dirty, too. Goes back and forth. The idea that there were emails and stuff and they have to triangulate and coordinate them sounds like a lot of bullshit. But if it's not, I guess we have to do the triangulation. Them talking about the triangulation is the bullshit. Like, you're telling me there's a potential for bullshit here. Come to me, sensationalize this when we know what the bullshit means. You're jumping the gun, I think, Fox, but maybe that's what you got to do. I think with the Russia collusion they hit Trump with on the other side, that gunked everything up before the election with Biden, maybe. Maybe that worked too. Maybe this is just the way the media plays it.
That's what James Comer is trying to do.
So if these emails are held by the National Archives, is that a difficult thing to acquire, or does that take some work?
It should be easy. When it was the Democrats looking at Donald Trump, they got it in record time. They got it every record they ever wanted in just a couple of days. In fact, they had their subpoenas for attendance and other things enforced immediately. That's going to be the test for this White House. They said there was no communication, that there was arm's length, that there was this wall set up between them. But here's a direct.
I love how if you watch Fox News, this is like the biggest issue in the world right now. And we don't even know if the laptop even really exists. There's never been an actual laptop presented. There are leaked images, but we don't know.
There's been a ton of leaked images.
Those could have came from anywhere, like a data breach. Could have been anything.
Yeah, there are tons of pictures of Hunter Biden, videos of Hunter Biden doing crack, having sex with prostitutes.
Yep.
Tons of illegal activity. Weird text messages from Hunter to other professionals. Wasn't there the one where he was going back and forth with his lawyer talking about his like black penis or something and dropping the N-bomb?
Something like that.
Something so much weird shit from this fucking guy.
Yep.
But you know, he is the fortunate son, child of privilege. He is the senator's son. He is everything Creedence Clearwater Revival sung about. And if there was some collusion that Biden was doing to benefit his son, we then have to deal with the entire ecosystem that's been talked about for decades of senators taking care of their children over other children, not sending their children to war when they'll send yours to war, things like that. We have to talk about that, and that's a systemic situation. I don't know if we're going to get justice either way on this.
There's no doubt that stuff was leaked. the narrative about the laptop dropped off at a repair shop has never been conclusively proven. People are saying there's a hard drive. Yeah, I can. You can hack into someone's iCloud and then put files on a hard drive and be like, hey, this is the hard drive. Like, there's no proof that the hard drive is the origin where the files came from. We don't know where they came from.
What does the proof of the laptop do to change this, though?
The narrative that it was given firsthand to a computer.
Like where everything came from?
Yes.
Email with a specific date, time, and them saying a Joe Biden staffer telling the people that work at Rosemont Seneca that, yes, the vice president has signed off on this. And guess what? U.S. policy changed 3 days later when Joe Biden went to Ukraine and announced to the world he was going to leverage $1 billion U.S. taxpayer dollars and make sure that he got this prosecutor fired. So let's read the content of that email.
Okay, Comer says there was no absolute wall as office doors were wide open to Hunter Biden's associates. We just heard from Abby Lowell. Let's listen to him. He blames Republicans. This was with MSNBC, I believe, last night.
As much as the facts and the law should cool these prosecutors, it looks like the heat that's put on by the Republican
Mr. Morden in the
congressman.
pleb chat says the guy Hunter supposedly gave the laptop to was and is legally blind.
Really?
Is this like Daredevil?
I don't know if this is, maybe it's true. I don't know, but that's weird.
This guy, did this guy pull up the laptop and just puts his fingers on the keys, starts typing, randomly like just clicks around with his blind fingers and says, that sounds like Hunter Biden.
I don't know how you can
crack and fucking prostitutes.
I don't know how you can repair computers if you're blind. I really don't know, because you got to be able to see what you're doing.
It's probably pretty simple to do. The computers aren't like they're pretty basic with all the functions. You have everything there in front of you.
I just assembled the computer I'm using right now from its bare parts, and there's like some very precise things that you have to do to be able to like assemble a computer, like little pins on the motherboard that you have to fit like one little clip into. There were times I had to use a pair of tweezers to plug in things that were too small for my hands to fit into.
It's because you're used to being tricked by your eyesight. This person doesn't have that holding them back.
Okay.
They get to just touch and feel the same way Daredevil beats criminals.
Is that why blind people are allowed to drive? They're not.
Yeah, that's one reason why. Also, why blind people are better with tiny penises.
Who want to interfere in the normal course of what the Justice Department does, puts up the heat.
Now, I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I'll give you a chance to answer it. However, in this case, David Weiss was on the job, right? And he had a secret community deal that was all laid out.
Blind Billy had Hunter Biden's laptop.
For Hunter Biden, the judge smelled it out and said this doesn't add up, and we are where we are now. But Weiss then became the special counsel.
Look at that, we are doing better than last Tuesday already.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
I wish we could have done the countdown thing, but it's like, oh, you can't put in a number less than 0. So it's Streamlabs. They're just no fun.
If you guys,
go ahead.
If you guys want to celebrate, you can know that Ben and I's bank accounts are both negative right now in real life. So it's in spirit.
Yeah. Pretty close to it.
Measure of faith in the American
blank accounts
people have in what seems to be a process that's gone a little screwy, Jason.
I don't think any. First of all, the statute says that a special counsel should be outside the Department of Justice, not a government employee. And guess what? He is. He works. He got a promotion for botching a case. Not only did he let the statute of limitations expire on previous charges.
Oh, by the way, everyone, if you haven't liked the stream already, please give us a like. Liking helps out tremendously. Please do that.
And if you don't like the stream, tell us. We'll fix it.
Charge that's before him. The judge has rightly pointed out that you have to do this. Why hasn't he done this? He's had this for years, by the way. He could have done that easily. And in the case of investigating these types of ties between the Hunter Biden family business and the corruption that is alleged, What? They haven't done anything. They haven't done the interviews. And I point to the IRS whistleblowers, the IRS professionals who were never allowed to do their job in full.
I do think it's kind of weird that, you know, they were going to give him like a really nice plea deal and then he like didn't even go along with the rules for that. That is what happened, right? With Hunter, like he even fucked up the kind of.
I didn't know if that was the case. I thought maybe they had a plea deal set up and someone else was like, oh, no,
that was it.
But I could be wrong on that. That's what I had thought.
There's more to this sometime soon. Jason, thanks for your time. Jason Chaffetz with us today. Thank you.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily.
Hi, Emily.
She has very nice hair.
It's good. I like the wavy layering.
Yeah. Trump layers seek recusal of judge in D.C. presiding over federal election subversion case. So they're going to try to claim like this judge isn't fit to do this particular trial. They're trying to get a different judge, which is an act of desperation. Like I don't know who this judge is, but a lot of the judges Trump is going in front of, he appointed himself. And this is a federal judge, so I'm thinking, but someone can correct me on this if I'm wrong. Pretty sure this judge was appointed by him.
Donald Trump is formally calling for the judge.
Whoa! Let's see if he can throw a spiral pass.
Overseeing his federal election.
Oh, you can't even see what the pass looked like. They zoomed in as he let it go. You couldn't even see it leave his hand.
Meddling case to recuse herself. The filing
It's
centers
still
on
in his hand. He didn't even throw it. It was a magic trick.
He did a fake out?
It was a magic trick. It was right there.
Oh, someone handed him another ball, or maybe that was the ball he threw, but they gave it back to him.
No, the ball he threw didn't have white on it.
Oh,
this
okay.
was a new ball.
The filing.
That time he didn't even try to throw an actual pass. He did like a potty.
Potatoed it.
Yeah.
Centers on comments that U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan made in previous cases.
I don't think Trump has ever actually played football in his life. I don't know.
I didn't see no spiral on that ball. Why was there no spiral on that? Give him the Nerf foam balls to throw. He's not allowed to throw regulation footballs. Give him the Nerf. What were those twister balls?
Yeah, it was a turbo. It was called the Nerf Turbo. I had one of those when I was a kid.
He should be throwing out Nerf turbos with McDonald's logos on them.
For those January 6th cases, with Trump's attorneys saying those comments from her show that she has a
This man behind him looks like he was bred to stand behind a president.
He's a Secret Service guy.
Yeah, look at him. He
He's
looks
giant.
like he's made out of security tape. This guy is there.
He's the bullet shield as a last resort. That's it. That's part of his
Serious
job,
man.
And he's armed, like under that suit jacket. He's got something that'll blow a giant hole in somebody.
The opinion that Trump deserved to be criminally charged. Trump's attorneys are asking for a new judge to be randomly assigned. Chutkan will be the only.
I wonder why none of them have their suit jackets buttoned. Aren't you supposed to have the top button buttoned on a suit jacket?
The Secret Service?
Well, I mean, anyone wearing a suit. I'm guessing it's because they have to be able to reach their gun. I don't know.
Well, yeah, no, to reach your gun, the protective vest you're wearing underneath makes it harder to button the suit. And also, if you have a presidential gut like Trump does, you might not button it.
You need two of them to block the bullet.
Person ruling on the recusal motion, though.
Trump is still wearing the type of suit that was fashionable in the 80s, like the oversized suit that like David Byrne from the Talking Heads wore.
So any decision on her recusal
and like the thick wide tie, he has like an extra wide tie,
would come from her.
He's signing Pokemon cards again.
We'll get back to the news in a few here. We're gonna move on to something else. Let's check this out.
How did I get here?
Clee disappear. Clee disappear. Clee disappear. Clee disappear.
Someone took the latest King Cobra meltdown and turned it into music. It's Boglam Core. Check this out.
Oh my fucking God. You know what pisses me off, YouTube? Wasting the cops' time. You want to bully Cobra? I'm used to it. I am fucking used to it. It is what it is. You happy? You got what you wanted, motherfucker! Don't tell me to fucking chill the fuck out. I'm tired of it, you little pussy ass faggot. Straight the fuck up. You got what you wanted, motherfucker! Oh, but no, we gotta call the cops on Cobra for waving a fake gun around. You think it's funny watching an autistic freak?
This is the part where you do picking up change.
You won't think it's funny when it happens to you, dude. When you've been fucking harassed and rejected by every chick you've liked since the 4th grade. Oh my fucking God. Stop wasting the cops' fucking precious time. You little pussy ass motherfucking cocksucking faggot YouTube troll. It's not a real gun. It's fake. It's empty. Oh my God, dude.
Oh my God, dude. He always says he's been rejected by every girl since the 4th grade, but Stephanie didn't reject him. So it's not every girl. Maybe most, but not every.
Maybe he never advanced Stephanie. Maybe she made the advance. She came on to him. Maybe every girl he's ever advanced towards has rejected him. Or he's wrong.
Sticky said every girl he liked, so he didn't really like Stephanie. He was just like, all right, I can get this one.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say that, but could technically be correct.
Here's another gem from the King Cobra Reacts channel, Cobra Reacts channel. It's Cobra reacting to body positivity TikToks.
Ooh. TikTok. What is going on with that chunk and tite hanging out of that shirt there? That's not how shirts work.
What up, YouTube?
There are shirts that I've seen women wear now that like it goes around their neck and their arms, but their chest is like outside of it. It's like I
like that.
It's like a short t-shirt, but it's so short it's like up above the boobs. I'm like, what is the purpose of that? Why not just not wear the shirt at all? If it's covering that little, I don't understand, but
I've always been a fan of underboob, where the underboob hangs out of the shirt.
Sure.
'Cause the shirt's so short.
Uh-huh.
This is just like all boob.
All boob.
It's like, hey, we got this cute shirt.
Under,
it's a
over,
cute shirt.
and side boob.
Yeah, it's like all boob. I'm not against the idea of a shirt that covers the shoulders and the arms, little sleeveys, and has no coverage of tits. I'm kind of actually a fan of that. Tits should be flopping all the time.
It's your boy Cobra back at it. So, what do we have to drink? We have a Villa M sweet red wine, and we're gonna mix it with some Mountain Dew just to piss off the wine snobs. Yeah, cheap wine and some soda pop. And nothing screams goth like drinking red wine out of a Jack Skellington goblet. Yeah. This red wine is actually really freaking delicious. Normally I go with Apothic Dark Red.
Apothic Dark Red. That's a red blend.
Yeah. Have you had an Apothic before?
I don't remember having it, so I'm not sure. Maybe. I'm a big fan of red wine, so.
Yeah, I'm not a wine drinker, but I've seen Apothic Reds. I haven't seen Apothic Darks before, but I've seen Apothic Reds around.
And I'm guessing they have a white. Like most winemakers have a red and a white, like multiple reds and whites.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The Apothic has that kind of gothic look to it.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why Cobra is a big fan.
Gothic Apothic.
And pour some more in there. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That's pretty good by itself. It's got really nice. That's really fucking good red wine. Now we're going to splash it with some dew. Drink combination.
Dew. Oh, God. Oh.
Is this how you make Code Red?
I don't think so. I drink Code Red I haven't drank Code. Does Code Red even exist anymore? I think
I don't know. I don't know.
Code Red. Code Red. I remember being kind of good, but I used to drink Mountain Dew. It was back when I drank Mountain Dew in my early 20s. I tried Code Red for the first time.
Call it Cobra's Blood. Why not?
Cobra's Blood.
Cheers. Check out the merchandise. I got a 4B.
Julia Raul in the chat suggests Billy the Fridge stars in My Dinner with Cobes. I should get a camera crew to film Cobra and I having a multi-course dinner, and the conversations that would ensue would be a fantastic short film or a full-length film, depending on how long I can get him to eat and drink for. We can cut down 4 or 5 hours of dialogue in a good hour and a half easily if I can keep feeding him, filling him with drink. That's a good idea. We'll get that onto the patron perk when we get to 1,000 patrons. We'll go out and shoot that.
Oh, we're about halfway there with that.
Let's go.
Blair White released a new video called Fat Positivity TikTok is insane.
And by the way, speaking of Patreon, they made some big changes recently where you can do like collections. Like instead of just tagging everything, you can put everything into like different collections. So I'm going to go through the library and update that to make it easier to access on Patreon. And then there's a new live chat feature that they're putting out where you can like do paywalled Patreon live chats with all the patrons on there. That looks cool. Ooh. They just put that out. I just got the email about it today. So I'm going to check that out and see what else we can put in there. But I'll tell you what, all jokes aside, if we got to 1,000 patrons, I would help fund this Billy Dinner with Cobra thing, hands down. We need that to...
Obviously, if people are doing that, it's going to be paid for by the Drunken Peasants party. Duh.
Yeah. I mean, like...
Pay for it, duh. And it's not $1 patrons either. $10 or above.
Oh, no, I'll take 5.
I won't. I won't do it. $10 and above, 1,000 of you. Let's go. My Dinner with Cobra. Because Ben, you're gonna have to spring for some pretty epic meal.
I mean, he'll be satisfied. Like we could take him to Applebee's or Outback Steakhouse, and he'd be happy.
Here's your.
He doesn't know.
I want to find the finest restaurant in Casper.
He does. Actually, there is
the finest dining is.
He's talked about this place that he really likes. That he would take a girl out on a date. I can't remember the one he said right now, but yeah, there's some fine dining places there.
Reminder that fat phobia is rooted in racism.
I like how we had the Wallace Shawn reference earlier with the bald guy on Fox News, and now it's full circle with a My Dinner to Andre reference. Guys, if you're not highly intelligent, you won't catch every line of DP's brilliance, but it's there. If you're not hyper intelligent, go to school, learn, become a genius. The show gets 1,000 times better when you're a board certified genius. It's still good for you imbeciles. Trust me, hang with us. We got you.
Damn it. Why, dude? No. Fat phobia is not rooted in racism, you retarded bitch. Oh my God.
Actually, I do want to be fat because bellies are beautiful.
That's fat phobic as Nah, okay. There's nothing wrong with loving your body, whether you're fat, skinny, no titties, no ass, busted ass face. Nothing wrong with being positive about the way you look.
So you guys know that I have gone down many a rabbit hole on this channel. Actually, we've done it together on Miss TikTok. We've done everything together. I love you guys. We've really grown together.
Oh my God.
I love you guys.
Stop with the crocodile tears, Blair.
We've had trans TikTok. We've had the woke white saviors of TikTok. We've had detransitioner TikTok. We've had the woke teachers TikTok. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the fat activists of TikTok.
No, look, the root of this problem is that people who are fat have been
Monthly
fat shamed.
Morning Show, Brunch with Billy. Monthly Late Night Show, Brunch with Billy.
Yes. Monthly morning show. Yeah, I've been trying to stream earlier and earlier on my side channel because there's like a whole different audience there that can't normally watch live. And then on the last Saturday show, I streamed until 2 a.m, and there were people in Europe coming in being like, I don't normally get to see this live. and that kind of helped move things along with the goal last time.
For ages, for a while, being super skinny was all the rage, and now we're in a society that says love your body, and
It just sounds so funny because it's the only scenario in which I'd like call someone fat like that because they call themselves fat. Now, disclaimer, I don't hate fat people. I hate when people lie and say that it is healthy to be fat. I hate when people disregard science for the sake of
Disclaimer,
feelings. I hate when people make
I don't know if Blair White hates me, but I know Blair White's boyfriend loves me. She can't hate me that much.
Being fat, their identity, and thus
As a fat person.
created as some sort of impenetrable shield that no one can criticize.
yeah, I actually
Like, he's a fan of your music, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
He, when I met him at VidCon, he was a very cool, nice dude, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry if I ever say anything bad about your girlfriend, because I talk shit all the time." And he said, "Billy, I didn't hear you talk shit about my girlfriend. What'd you say?" And I was like, "Oops," and I ran away.
That didn't really happen. I'm not denying you met him, but I don't think you said.
That's what I thought though when he was being so sweet to me. I was like, "Oh man,
Okay.
I feel bad. I feel bad if I ever said an unkind word about Blair White because her boyfriend is a sweet boy to me."
I met Blair White at VidCon because I walked up to talk to Jacqueline Glenn, and I turned around and Blair White was there.
agree with Blair White 100%. Nothing wrong with being fat. It's unhealthy, but shit, what isn't unhealthy for you these days?
I hate when fat activists try to cancel celebrities for losing weight and deciding to be healthy, because then you have to get checked. It's just, it is what it is. I also understand body issues. Is there anyone that's going to deny
Colton
that I of all
Prince says
people...
Blair is dumb, but that is okay. Oh, it is more than okay. There are so many people who are dumb. It's okay to be dumb.
Kind of understand body...
M85 says Billy cuddling up with the fascies. Yeah, some of us can handle being around fascists without it absorbing into our fucking entire persona. I can handle being around Hitler. And if I was around Hitler, I think I'd rub off on him, not vice versa. So F you with this cuddling up with fascies talk. Human beings are human beings, and we change the course of humanity by bringing the lost ones closer to the right path.
Of
I will not be shamed for finding middle ground with people I disagree with.
And we're going to look at the fat activists on TikTok today because, as with every other sort of like social or activist group that exists on the platform, TikTok really heightens the crazy when it comes to this because you can get banned or get a community guideline strike so easy on TikTok, easier than any other platform. So you have these activists.
All right, all you guys, hold on. All you guys, I'm about to block Billy's name from the chat, and you're going to have to pay to say anything about him in a second here.
Great in the context.
Well, at that point, I'm going to have to ask for a raise, Ben. I'm tired of being brought up and not getting extra money. Give me extra money if you're going to paywall my name, Ben.
These woke people saying
I'm paywalling your name.
Crazy shit. No one can push back because criticism equals bullying in the eyes of
Hey,
TikTok.
guys, you can still type Ben for free.
Yeah.
So that it just gets crazier and crazier because there's nothing to balance out the crazy.
As someone that gets criticized all the time, a little bit of constructive criticism is great.
Previously on Boglin Reacts.
Nobody likes criticism. That's what pisses me off about criticism, is that there are people who are giving it, they themselves are not perfect. You can take your constructive criticism and shove it up your ass.
Here's your reminder that fat phobia is rooted in racism.
Oh my God. So if you have some alcohol handy, every time someone says something really stupid on TikTok, we're going to take a drink.
He would do that anyway, though.
As always, if you haven't read this book, go do that.
I'm not.
The main thing to understand is that for the last 300-ish years, white folks have been marketing fatness as a black trait.
Are you stupid, girl? To compare people who...
Am I appropriating culture by being fat?
Well, which culture was the original fat? Was it like Samoans or something?
I wouldn't say that. I don't know.
Choose to not move and eat a lot to...
Sumo isn't a culture, it's a sport, and they get fat on purpose to compete in sumo, so I don't know.
Born black.
Yeah, the Japanese aren't all fat. Some
Not
of them
usually.
Some of them just eat terribly fattening things.
Gay, etc. It's like, you have some damn nerve, girl.
Some people are born fat and they can't help it. So I see where the TikTok side of the argument's coming from.
You have nerve.
I was born fat. You know, you have a 98% chance of being fat if your mama got a fat ass pussy.
Do you know how much you weighed at birth?
8 pounds, 10 ounces.
Okay, that's not like crazy big. Like I
was a bouncing baby Billy.
Because I've heard of
19 inches.
I've heard of like babies being born like 14 pounds even, right? Like,
yeah. I wasn't really a fat baby. I got fat probably at some point. There was a extreme childhood trauma that caused me to continue overeating around the age of 5. So whatever happened to me at 5, I've blocked out with delicious treats.
Trauma. It causes parents to look at their children and say, your life would be better if your body was different. We try to reach through generations to save each other from the pain of exclusion, of bigotry, of discrimination. And in turn, we become the gatekeepers, deciding which
She is so serious, huh?
Which are not. Making children.
The music.
Of course she's serious. You only have 2 types of fat. You have the obnoxious fat and the jolly fat. They don't make any other version of fat. There's no normal fat.
Aware that their bodies are a cause for concern.
Okay, but like being obese shouldn't be acceptable. It shouldn't be acceptable for yourself if you are obese.
No. Being obese should be acceptable, but it should be something that people don't feel like they're shamed into working on. It should be something where people can accept themselves so they can actually start working on themselves without the pressures of society adding to the already rough go they have with their eating disorder. We accept the fact that people are fat and we move on, but that's the problem. People can't do that because people look at other fat people and wonder how they get so fat. I couldn't believe being that fat. I'm going to judge every fat person ever the same way I would judge myself. We are different people. We work in different ways, mentally, physically, all the way through. Just access to food could make you have a trouble eating. Mental disability, it is a disease the same way alcoholism is. It's not a disease the same way that cancer is, but it definitely is the same way alcoholism is.
I watched this documentary a long time ago about like extreme cases where, and they did both ends of it. They showed, I believe, a woman that was obese, like 700 pounds, and genetically, this isn't true for most people, but for her, like, no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't lose weight. She was like constantly gaining weight. And then they showed this guy who's like constantly in starvation mode. No matter how many calories he eats in a day, he's still like, his metabolism is so like hyper that he metabolizes almost everything he eats, and he had to have like a constant like feeding tube to like artificially feed himself for shit because he had like this crazy weird metabolism where he was like constantly in starvation mode. It's so weird. Those are extreme. Like those two things are very rare, but there's a spectrum definitely in between.
Yeah, there's definitely physical attributes that will change the way you metabolize things, but mentally the relationship you have with food, we can't go around shaming people for being fat. That does not help them. The last alt is saying alcoholism is not a disease. Bullshit. You can't just enable people. You're not enabling people by accepting them for who they are. When people are accepted for who they are, they have a better chance of becoming who they need to be. The opposite does not help.
The problem. It's like
no, stop. Blair Wright, stop.
They're acting like they're arguing for skin tone or sexual orientation to be acceptable.
Making children aware that their bodies are a cause for concern and are being watched closely. We
Children
experience
shouldn't be made aware that their bodies are a concern. They shouldn't be made aware that if they're not perfect, they'll go to hell. They shouldn't be aware of a lot of things their minds can't understand. If a child is eating too much, you know what you do? You feed them other shit. That's where you don't get into their fucking underdeveloped mental framework and put self-governance in a child. You feed them better food. You ration better. You give them better opportunities so they make better choices. You don't tell them that they're fat. That's how you get eating disorders across the board. Maybe you get the hot eating disorder where you're super skinny. Maybe you get the weird eating disorder where you're skinny, but you have to vomit all the time. Maybe you get the ugly eating disorder where people walk in a room and say, ooh, piggy, piggy, oink, oink. But they're all there, and they're also part of the spectrum.
Cycling as we attempt to become smaller over and over again, and we think, if I could just teach
The
my
last
child
alt says,
good
so the hospital should have told Billy his valve looks great. Guess what, the last alt? The hospital told Billy the facts. The facts were my valve had been pumping too much. You know what else my body didn't have? A lot of the other things that fat people with heart failure might have. My condition was a very distinctive condition. So the condition was not just obesity. It was also hereditary. It was also probably linked to other things, possibly including the COVID virus that I received. There's a high number of people with a similar heart failure that have gotten it after getting COVID. There's a lot of things here. You are not a doctor, and you're not a psychiatrist either, and your opinion is not helping anybody but yourself, rationalizing the fact that you don't understand other people's lives.
And by the way, like, it's not a good analogy. Like, when someone has a clearly failing heart, it's not the same as telling them that that's happening, as opposed to being like, I mean, like, a doctor will tell you, you know, maybe you should lose weight, but they're not going to be like, you fat, ugly pig, you should lose weight. You're gross. It's not like that. You know, they can give like a recommendation or something.
And the last thought, you're coming through here trying to claim a personal victory, saying you get a free TTS like you're a doctor. No, you've given me free content to talk about. I'm on this show 3 hours a night, very regularly, looking for things to talk about. And sometime I farm the dumb little idiots like you in the chat, because guess what? I'm the host of the show. Ben's the host of the show. You are the ghost of the show. You can get ghosted or you can haunt around all you want, but you are nothing more than what I or someone on the show makes you. So feel good that you got verbalized on this episode, but know this, it could have been anybody. I do this every fucking time we cam up. You got lucky. Good job. I noticed you. You're proud because I noticed you. How insignificant are you? Pathetic leech. Guess what? You got a disease too. It's called foot and mouth. Enjoy the taste. Piss off.
He can't go ham. That's high sodium.
That sugar is bad and exercise is mandatory, and checking in with your body is unnecessary. Actually, what we are teaching them is disordered eating, weight stigma, the body hierarchy, and a complete disconnection from and distrust of our bodies. We learn to fear.
Good point. Yes, please, guys, please hook us up. Let's start a tip train. The last alt has spearheaded this new tip train of donations. Please click the link pinned in the chat, and let's start a tip train. The last alt, he's championing this next tip train in his name. Thank you, comrade.
Fat, and we gift that to them as if it will protect them.
You should fear being fat. And it should protect your child to let them know it's unhealthy to be fat. Why would anyone want their child to live a third of how long they could live? Like, it's like, do they understand people die being this way? Do you understand you're not going to exist at that weight at 55, 60?
Do you understand that putting fear into a child's mind helps them nurture into a strong adult? You should fear your child. Like, they should never, ever feel comfortable in their bodies, ever. That way, when they get older, they decide to change them through drastic surgery.
70 years old, like, there are no obese 70-year-olds because they don't live that long. It's just so corny to me how they're so serious.
You know what? Someone said, I can't remember someone was like, name a fat 90-year-old, and someone was just like, William Shatner. It's true. I mean, he's not like super fat, but he's a little like a lot of 90-year-old people look like too thin. And he actually looks really good for his age. He looks cherub-like.
My grandmother died at 86 and was 5'4" and over 300 pounds, I believe. That's 86. That's a long time to go. And she died not because of heart issues. She died because of ammonia that perforated her lungs and caused her to have an issue being able to breathe.
Tip train
Like-
alt aboard.
Yes, there we go.
You don't know the end of anyone's story, and you don't know the chapters that led to their story right now. And people who presume that are total fucking idiots. And that's why I like to call you guys out specifically, because I actually know your story. You've hit a wall in your personal growth where you think you're good enough to call out other people's lives. And that sickens me, because there's a lot of great people I know who struggle every day. And I'm sure you've said some stupid shit to them and you've made them feel lesser when really you're the lesser one yourself. You pathetic little pig.
Who are you talking to?
Everybody who acts that way.
Like, take a Xanny.
Do you want to see a real body?
Okay.
Still beautiful, still worthy.
There's nothing wrong with body positivity and loving yourself and saying, you know what? I accept the way I am. And if you can change it, that's another thing. Like, there are some people who can change it, but they choose not to. It's not just about accepting your body because you can't change it. It's about personal choice, because some people choose this life. Why? I don't know. I don't care. Your life, not my judgment. As long as you ain't a sick fuck, I don't care.
I think it's funny.
I want to further this.
people with that activist-
If you have a big, fat, nasty body, there are people who love that. There are people who will love you despite of that. They might not love you for your nasty body. They might love you for who you are. Doesn't matter. I have a big, nasty body, and I have felt extreme, intense, deep love. It's amazing
and
what
lust
you're capable of getting with or with all that stuff. I've had some wonderful life experiences, and if I died at 40 because my heart fell out, I'd feel pretty confident waging that I lived a better life than half the people who want to critique on my obesity. I could be wrong, but it doesn't matter because I lived this life. You didn't.
Say this is a real body, as if being thin and not having body hair is somehow not real. Like, it's real, it's just not you. So why are you implying that only the only...
And oh, and the irony, you're going to discriminate against people who are thinner than you and then bitch because...
the only real bodies are people who don't take care of themselves, people who eat themselves into obesity. Like, what are you trying to argue for here? It would be as stupid as me saying, do you want to see a real body? I have more plastic in me, probably than actually she has food in her. Your body doesn't need to change the way you think about it does. Stop being so hard on yourself. You are beautiful just the way you are.
What are you going to say about that?
See, that's the problem, Miss Girl, is that telling people they don't need to change if they're unhealthy, this is a...
You know what? It's not your body, Blair. Like, I'm not trying to disagree with Blair White here, but have you ever had to struggle with being fat or finding acceptance amongst your peers? You know what I'm saying? Some people, you know what? Let me ask you this. Okay, if you're fat and you can't change a fucking thing about it, the only option you have is surgery, and it's a surgery you can't afford. What's better? You know what I'm saying?
Objectively incorrect and terrible advice. Saying that someone is obese
Terrible
but doesn't
advice.
need to change.
As somebody who didn't feel comfortable in their body and changed into an entire different gender, you have to change. You can't feel comfortable. It goes against everything I lived through.
Is saying that you don't care about how long they live. You don't care if they're unhealthy. You don't care if they feel sick all the time.
And you shouldn't care. It's not your body. It's none of your fucking business. What's wrong with making someone feel good about the way they look? When you go your whole life being fat and overweight and people looking at you like, You know what I'm saying? Like, oh.
And to me, that's just not a friend. Now, granted, don't ever give unsolicited
not a
advice to someone's
friend.
body. I would never do that. It's
Blair
not like,
White is a total mean girl. Don't give unsolicited advice about somebody's body. Just judge them to the grave for being fat. Okay.
you know, people love going to the most extreme. So I'm sure some people are saying, oh my God, Blair would really go up to like an obese person and say, lose weight. No, are you stupid? That's so rude and disgusting. However, if anyone who is obese asked me,
However,
if they thought
I would say it online.
they need to change, I would say yes, because I want you to live longer. I want you to be healthy.
If someone came up to me and that was fat and said, do I need to change? I'd be like, change if you want to.
I want you to feel good.
I wouldn't be that. I'd say die young. Who cares? This life that you're living right now, you have to live from right now until the very end either way. Don't stress yourself out over this shit. Do what you can. Life is a fucking work in progress until it isn't. And the finished piece, you won't get to see anyways.
Toxic, that part of these people's activism, I wouldn't have a problem with it if it was just like, hey, stop being rude to fat people, stop being rude to obese people, they are people too. But they go into these talking points of like, you're beautiful, you don't need to change, fat phobia is rooted in racism. They just take it too.
See, something Blair White does a lot is she takes like the worst arguments of whatever she's against and uses those instead. Like, yeah.
If you have to use the worst arguments to make your argument hold up, you're not making a good argument.
Damn far.
But there's nothing wrong with you, physically. You've got the kind of looks that make other girls mentally ill.
Take a piss.
Honestly, I see these girls that are on here, and these are the type of girls I get matched up with on Tinder. They're all these big, round, like me-looking, color crayon-haired girls. And it's like, obviously why I don't use Tinder. Carla says, I love Billy because his fat ass is cute. Thank you, Carla. More validation. This is what we need. Validation in the form of memberships, donations, patronage. Validate me through money so that we can have positive bank accounts.
God damn it! You don't need any plastic surgery. You're perfect.
Again, you should not be encouraging that this is perfection.
So what's Big Ben, the clock tower's favorite social media app? I heard it was TikTok.
Whoa!
Hold up, Ben. Have you thought about going by Big Ben, the clock tower from now on?
I hate.
You gotta start a TikTok.
See, now here's the thing. Big Ben isn't even actually the name of the clock tower. It's the bell inside the clock tower.
I'm here to kick a gum and chew ass, and I'm all out of ass. On another note, when will we ever get to see Mueller or one of those other FAP critics back here again?
You know, I don't know. I sent Mueller a DM a long time ago, and he never responded, so I didn't push the issue. We do kind of goof on some of his friends. He is kind of in that Eric July adjacent circle now, so I don't know, but I think he's cool. I don't have a problem with him. Even
can we try and get Eric July on? You think we could have an episode with Eric July
where would be on,
where we just watch clips and do the regular show and don't even like engage with him in a negative way? Wouldn't that be hilarious?
He wouldn't be on because he would be afraid. He won't respond directly to someone unless he thinks that they're like not at his level mentally, or he has his buddies there to kind of do the damage control for him.
It'd be so funny if we could get like one of our antagonists book and then just try and have a regular episode with them.
That's what we used to do, like when we had like Styx and Roaming Millennial on.
Right?
Yeah, we used to do that.
They were people we disagreed with, but we never like harped on them, right?
Not really. JF, we kind of went after him a little bit. Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa.
I think this is edited in, but it's great.
Josh jokes be like.
You can say anything about me.
I mean, that was a real fart. I don't know.
Inconsistent on this issue.
Look at everything I've said about 5 suggests you can go by Big Ben the Bell End. Look at this hottie. Damn. Hottie positive, am I right?
Cooney is that she's glorifying being that thin to her audience of young females.
I don't know if she's glorifying it, but she is that thin. Other people may be a fan of hers and glorify it. I don't know if she does. I've never seen her be like, oh, everyone should be thin like I am. Never heard of that.
I think you should be able to exist, even if you are Eugenia Cooney thin. You should be able to exist and be a contributor to conversation. I know there's a lot of people out there that look at her and think that that's a goal, and that's part of a disease, a disorder, a mental disease.
She probably has body dysmorphia to a degree where she doesn't
Of
look
course.
the way. Yeah.
So
to a degree, yeah, but you don't know what kind of shit Eugenia Cooney goes through.
The same way that I'm
I know what kind of shit she goes through a lot. I've followed her for a while. We've been friends on Twitter. She's talked to me through a lot of little things. I feel for that girl a lot. I feel really bad for her. I think she's very sweet, and I see because I'd be tagged with her and Onision on shit back in the day, because Onision would do videos on her.
He would go hard on her.
And I would get tagged in them because, like, how could you hate on Eugenia if you're friends with this morbidly obese person? And it's like, I would see this shit go down. And people are vile when it comes to things they don't understand. And Eugenia's disorder, my obesity, my disorder, when you get people who don't understand them, they don't just lack understanding. They need to be angry at you for being so misunderstanding, for being so different than what they can actually understand. People have to be angry at you. It sucks. I feel bad for her.
Everyone knows it's Eugenia's mom that's eating all of her food anyway, right?
Oh, dude. Who knows?
Because her mom's kind of fat. I remember when I saw the pictures, I was like, hold on a second. Is that why? She just doesn't get any food because her mom takes it all.
Well, I think psychologically, girls might get eating disorders by having a mom that's big and not wanting to be like her, and it pushes them in that direction too. Sometimes it could be linked. Who knows?
People or people that are unhealthily thin, glorifying that and saying you're perfect just the way you are. I'm going to have an issue with someone this morbidly obese saying it. It's not a good message to put out. And the fact that this is like a group of people that have like an ideology.
It's a false comparison. I've never seen Eugenia Cooney actually tell people that they should be like her. So
and like are to be respected. I don't respect it.
I think a lot of people see at least they say this could be concern lying, saying they saw their niece following Eugenia Cooney and thinks that she's so perfect and beautiful and they want to be just like her. I've seen that argument made a lot.
Sure. Well, my counter argument to that is, if you got a problem with your niece watching Eugenia Cooney, stop her from watching Eugenia Cooney. She doesn't have to go anywhere just because you're not a good parent. She's not, especially if she's not actively promoting it. If her very existence is what you consider her promoting it, I don't think she has to change anything.
Yeah, if you walk in on your niece watching Ellen DeGeneres, you just have the Ellen DeGeneres talk with her. The same thing you do if you walk in on her watching Eugenia Cooney with a little too much vigor. You have the Eugenia Cooney talk with her. Yeah, this is a personal thing. You have to deal with it on a base-by-base basis, case-by-case basis.
Realize that if the plastic were to pop or explode, that could be super toxic for your body. I'm just saying those fake tits of yours. Just saying.
Actually, I do
I mean,
want to be fat because bellies.
Didn't we watch this video earlier?
They're beautiful.
I think it might have been like a preview for the rest of the video that was at the beginning.
I knew I recognized that belly, though.
And honey, you keep that
Segmento, Dr. Segmento.
confidence. Yeah, if she's too big to do reverse cowgirl laying down, it ain't happening for me.
In this episode of Fat
Reverse cowgirl laying down?
He doesn't know
I like
what that
how
is.
reverse cowgirl is what guys who don't get laid say is their favorite position too. That's the best one I've heard recently. Like, women are like, if a guy says reverse cowgirl is his favorite position, he's not having sex. And I thought about it, and I was like, that was my favorite position when I wasn't having sex.
Fat face filter. Just in case you didn't know, that's fatphobic as f- Yeah. Stop doing
Dr. Pregnento. You guys
So
are
they have
assholes.
fat face. Like there's like black face. Some people go as far as saying there's woman face and get offended by that. These hoes have fat face. Girl, y'all just need like a job or a hobby. I'm sorry. You really do.
Isn't that different?
Like,
Isn't blackface putting on dark makeup to present as black? These women aren't putting on fat on their face to present as fat. They're just fat, right?
I don't know. Maybe there's a cool filter. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Become
Can we get a fat face filter?
Does TikTok really have a fat face filter? That's just wow.
Wow.
I don't know why it's frozen, but it is. Let's see. There.
I think it's okay to have filters that make you look fat. They have filters that make you look pretty.
For fat people, I'm just saying, like,
Fatten
you
them
got a
up.
fat bitch, fucking 600 pounds of damn, saying she wants the skinny guy with six-pack abs and a rocking hard body. But when he says, "No, you're not my type," oh my gosh, she'll go off on him about what a piece of shit he is and how he can't handle a strong woman.
These like groups are all the same shit, just about a different issue. So it's like the trans TikToks are saying if you don't date trans people, you're transphobic. The fat ones, if you don't date fat people, you're fatphobic.
Oh my God. You remember when Adele first came onto the scene? You know, the "Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you. Too. Don't forget me, I beg. I remember you said sometimes it lasted longer." You know that shit, right? Yeah. Well, Adele decided she wanted to lose some goddamn weight, and everyone was praising her for her fatness. But the second she lost weight, they turned on her like fucking piranhas and sharks, dude. Like, oh my God, how dare you? And it's like, okay, but isn't the whole
They
thing
turned
about
on Lizzo too, and she never lost weight. It's fucked up why they turned on Lizzo. Lizzo, being a dumbass, hired fat women to dance for her. You can't hire fat women and expect them to be as active as you're going to be. Fats, notoriously, they like to cut corners. I could say that as a fat.
fat positivity, accepting your body and saying you're healthy at any size, but then turn around and as soon as Adele loses weight, the hypocrisy of it, it's enough to make me want to drink.
I can't.
Some people's biggest fear is being fat. And
Okay,
I'm sorry,
pause. I want to. Her pants won't button up either. She is rocking her body right now. I don't even think she's that pretty, but I think she is pretty hot for what she's working with here. Good job to you. Good job.
If your worst fear is looking like me, you have some bigger problems in your life. Like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? Stop.
Yeah, Mises is built like a fertility idol. Exactly. There's something going on there with the fact that the top doesn't cover her boobs. Her boobs are flopping down over her bulbous belly, and her pants won't even button. Like there's an amalgamation of trouble there to make that a hot mess. Good job. Good job. I think that was the first fat that I've seen out of all these fats that actually pulled off a look to me that I thought was sexy. And it happens a lot. There's a lot of fat women that are sexy, and there's a lot that aren't. But there's a lot of skinny women that aren't sexy to me too. That was a good look. I'm saying aesthetically, not judging her body as a body, but as a look. You pulled off the look. Good job.
Slow zoom.
Yeah, for a trans woman, Blair White's kind of hot, but that's neither here nor there. If I was into that and she was single, yeah.
I bet
6 ways to be.
I bet you'd be into it if it was offered. Betty would.
I like how he offered if she was single too. That says a lot about Cobra. If she was single.
A fat ally. treat fat people with respect and dignity. I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that too, but respect is a two-way street. You shouldn't expect people to respect you if you don't respect them.
Call out fat.
Oh, I never give respect expecting respect back. I expect to gain people's respect well before they ever gain mine.
Is seek out fat stories from fat people. Nah, girl.
Seek out fat stories.
Believe fat.
Ben, we have to take time to seek out fat stories from fat people.
Okay.
So, sir, I was at the buffet the other day, and it was so fucked up because I couldn't fit behind the booth because my stomach is so fat I had to slap it up on the table. And I was sitting there trying to cut my chimichanga, and I slid the chimichanga knife out of the greasy cheese, and it sliced open my stomach. It's hard to be fat.
How about a dinner plate covered with soft serve?
Oh, fuck.
I've literally seen that at Old Country Buffet back in the day. That was the first, because I used to go there when I was a kid. Like my parents would go there like on Sunday or whatever, and I'd go there, and that was the first time I ever heard someone like throwing up in the bathroom. And then they had that unlimited soft serve ice cream. I saw people just chomping on a whole dinner plate covered with soft serve ice cream. There's no rules there.
There's no rules at the Old Country Buffet.
There's not. There isn't.
Oh, buffets. Do they have any comedy movies that are based around a buffet?
They have a South Park episode that is, and all the old people start to starve to death because they close Old Country Buffet. Yeah.
The soft serve at Old Country Buffet wasn't even that cracking. It wasn't that good.
But it was unlimited.
I've been wanting soft serve so much lately. There's this place down in International District that does a soft serve inside of it's like an Asian place, and they have these fish shaped cones.
Yeah, I've seen those down there.
I've been wanting to go down there one day when I have the time, but summer's over.
Almost.
About what? Ask restaurants, bars, special events, venues, etc. to provide size-inclusive seating options.
Food is comfort. Food does not judge you. It just says,
eat me and feel better about yourself.
10 days. 10 days is the fall equinox, and then that's the official end of summer on Friday, September 22nd.
Before the fall equinox,
We've still got some warm weather here, like in the 60s and 70s, so it's not too bad.
Did you catch that animation, Ben?
No, I missed it.
Well, you should watch this one. It was really fucking good.
About what? Ask restaurants, bars, special events, venues, etc. to provide size-inclusive seating options.
Food is comfort. Food does not judge you. It just says,
eat me and feel better about yourself.
Do that yourself. I'm not going to do that for you.
That's pretty good.
Fat friends and family to fat accessible spaces. See, why are they making it this much of like their identity?
I need Boglum Reacts to make me some intro videos. I need to talk to Boglum Reacts to like help me make some segment intro videos that I've been wanting to make.
Why are they making it this much of their identity? Because I promise you, when somebody walks into a room before they ever try and figure out anything else about this person, they are judging the morbid obesity they're carrying right there in front of them. You might not be judging harshly, but everybody's going to have an initial feeling when they see a morbidly obese fat. They have to make this a part of their identity because everybody who identifies them already has. It's the elephant in the room.
I mean, there's people that say the same thing about Blair. People actually that are more conservative on her side of the political spectrum are like, well, why do they have to make being trans such a part of their identity? So
yeah, I was thinking about bringing that up too, except Blair will go to the other side with the trans people and tell them that they are using trans as their identity so hard. But like you said, the other side of that on the right is saying the same thing about Blair that she's saying about the trans people to the left of her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been kind of bitchy this whole video, but
I mean, part of her persona is I'm trans, but I'm conservative. So the trans is still part of her identity. It's just the conservative part is also part of it.
Yeah, but she'll judge all the other trans people who go over identifying, right? That's kind of her thing, is being the the Uncle Dong.
That's why she fangirled out for Caitlyn Jenner, because Caitlyn Jenner is like the OG trans conservative, you know?
First woman to win 10 Olympic gold medals, right?
She was Woman of the Year less than a year after becoming a woman.
That's good. I don't know any other babies that have done that.
Really now actually feeling kind of sad. Like, that's some dark stuff. To be so unhealthy and to have just no hope in ever changing it.
That's how it feels, though, Blair. I don't want to speak for every fat individual, but for the motherfuckers out there that want to change. They've tried dieting and exercising. They're sitting there munching on a salad going, oh, this tastes like shit. I'd rather have pizza, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? You're going to feel hopeless, you know, because life will kick you in the balls and then keep kicking you while you're down. That's when you got to get back up and fucking punch life in the fucking face and be like, not today, motherfucker.
So you convert it to like, oh, this is just who I am then. You don't have to accept that this is you. Take it from someone who's changed their life and become completely unrecognizable in every way. I'm not just talking about physically. From
You do have to accept this is you. You have to accept yourself before you can change yourself. If you don't accept yourself, you're dealing with a weakened version of self, and a weakened version of self is not going to conquer something as massive as a weight disorder. So you have to accept you as you so you can become who you need to be.
Someone said she also killed someone. Be honest about it. It was in a car accident. It wasn't like she went out and shot someone. She did kill someone, but you got to be a little bit like the way you're positioning it almost sounds like you're claiming she murdered someone, and that's not the case. It was like a at least vehicular manslaughter.
That might be the only thing separating people from conservative to liberal. Maybe liberals have never killed anyone, and all conservatives have.
I don't know about that.
You can absolutely change your life, and it is genuinely making me upset.
Okay,
By the way, the person we're talking about is Caitlyn Jenner, not Blair White. Caitlyn Jenner killed someone in a car accident that I believe was her fault, but unless she was like drunk or something, she would probably just get like, she didn't get anything because she's rich and famous, but most people in those circumstances, if they weren't like intoxicated and it was just like an accident, at worst they'd get like vehicular manslaughter or something like that.
Is Matthew Broderick conservative?
That happened in Ireland. That's a totally different story, but yeah, he got away with that too because he was famous, rich and famous. That was like right after Ferris Bueller. The woman that played his sister in Ferris Bueller was with him because they were dating at the time when that car accident happened. I don't know if he was drunk. He might have been, but I know that like he was, driving on the other side of the road like they do. Like he was driving on the right side of the road like we do in the States, but he was in Ireland. So something went wrong. That's why I don't trust myself to drive in a country where they drive on the left side. I just don't trust myself. My brain is too trained to drive on the right side and follow all the rules of driving on the right side. Maybe I do it okay, but there's always that part, where...
Yeah.
It's my understanding, by the way, that Matthew Broderick has been back to Ireland since that happened and nothing happened to him. We do have an extradition treaty, too, with Ireland, so if they would have pressed charges against him, he would have been extradited there, and that didn't happen.
That might be why I have an advantage in driving over there, because I don't pay attention to the rules here in America either.
You do well enough. You still drive on the right side of the road.
Does it make you upset? Like, why? How does it possibly bother you that people you don't even know existing on the internet alongside your trans ass?
Seth says dating your pretend sister, gross. Is it grosser to date your pretend sister, or is it grosser to pretend the girl you're dating is your sister?
I mean, they weren't. I mean, like they were hired to act in a movie where they were brother and sister. There's like nothing to that, and it was for like one movie. I mean, like if they had grown up together like on a TV show and she played his sister like throughout like 10 years and they were like little kids, then maybe, but not for one movie when they were already adults in that movie, even though they played high school students. So it's perfectly normal.
When the Brady son dated the Brady mom, everybody thought that was so sick and gross, and now
that is different.
40 years later, that's the #1 search term on P-Hub.
Damn, this is
what you're saying.
That this girl has just accepted this as part of who she is. It's not part of who you are. That's so upsetting.
It kind of is part of who they are because sometimes they can't control it.
And you wonder why we don't.
I feel like I see New Mexico 1912 in the chat saying like they did it and it was that's fine, and maybe you did it good, and I think I could do it if I really to me, driving on the left side of the road, and yeah, I know the steering wheel's on the other side, it would almost be like trying to write with my left hand. Like I could do it if I was concentrating a little more, but it's just so natural to write with my right hand that I feel like there's a point where if I'm not like concentrating way too much, I could end up doing something that I'm just programmed to do driving on the right side of the road. So
Don't trust these people.
Carla with the dunk. There is no diet or plastic surgery for an ugly soul.
People.
Your voice.
It happens every.
What about a lobotomy?
Single time. Every single time. This is from today. This is from today.
Okay, if fat people are going to say you shouldn't shame us because we're fat, then they shouldn't shame people because someone else is skinny or what have you. It's a two-way street, people. It takes two to fight.
Yeah, no.
I don't like this two-way street talk. You can be selfish. You can be better than everyone else. You can judge other people and not care about their judgments coming back. You just physically have to not react when they judge you. It's very easy to let shit go and continue to hate on other people. I do it all the time. This two-way street thing is not always true. Some of us fly.
Yeah, no. Wasn't fat rep. Was not ever fat rep. Unapologetic fat actors forever and only. Till the end of time. This is boring.
Rebel Wilson.
Thank you, Andy Milonakis.
Is in a swimsuit.
Is that who that was?
Tells fans,
no,
it's never too late to improve yourself. The Pitch Perfect star has lost more than 60 pounds after revamping her diet and exercise habits. Why the fuck is this person on TikTok complaining?
Revamping.
You have people like Tess Holiday, bless her soul, doing their thing, posing in a swimsuit, and it's just like, no, good for you.
That is another thing that in going through these TikToks, I've seen that so many of these people get so upset.
That's what pisses me off about people, and they're like,
Oh my God, Cobra, quit kink shaming.
that only applies to people who aren't fucked in the head. Fuck sickos, dude.
When people leave the group, similar to detransitioners leaving the trans group, anyone leaving a cult, really, it's like they leave and then they get attacked. So there are TikToks from people within the fat positivity movement, saying how frustrating it is when people leave, or how frustrating it is when people change their minds and say that they want to become healthy. So you're a toxic individual when it's not just your own body that you're harming, but you want others to continue in that harm.
It's because they want to feel accepted and appreciated, and they want to feel like they have a place to belong. That's why they're encouraging this crap. You're being told it's okay if you're fat. Love your body for the way it is. And then you're watching YouTube, and here's an ad for Planet fucking Fitness. If you want to lose stubborn belly fat, blah, 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 blah. Fuck off, dude.
Making being fat your identity and protecting it with such an intensity that you end up abandoning all logic, all reason, and becoming this weird cult is the problem here.
A cult?
It's not a cult per se.
Wait,
it's just people.
abandoning logic and reason is frowned upon?
Fuck
All right, let's stop religion.
Everyone, please like the stream. And also, if you want to start a tip train, that would be much appreciated, Tubes. And also, I want to promote something that we've got going on Patreon right now. We've been giving out stickers for the at the $33 level. Oh shit, that's the wrong thing. I was going to play that next. We have these stickers right here that that are at the $33.33 level on Patreon. Sign up, help support the show, and get a cool sticker sent to you every month. And I'm working on the possibility of some T-shirts too. So check it out. Patreon.com/DP. We also have 2 really amazing private shows coming on towards the end of this month that you're not going to want to miss. I wanted to show you something interesting. So the mint salad Star Wars video, it blew up.
Yeah.
It got how many millions of views?
Millions. It was 15 million when we watched it on the last
I think it's
episode.
I think it's way more than that now. I just can't remember how many. I saw this bot that people were using where it translates videos into different languages, and it tries to AI the person's voice as much as possible. So
Star Wars fucking sucks right now.
oh, hold on, that's the original.
Star Wars, c'est nul en ce moment. Putain, je déteste ça. Tout d'abord, pourquoi y a-t-il même un Ahsoka? J'en ai vu quelques putains de captures d'écran, je ne l'ai pas vu, et ça ressemble à une poubelle. Ça ressemble à une poubelle. Pourquoi y a-t-il un putain de Luke Skywalker là-bas? Putain de Mark Hamill comme quand il était...
So that's it in French. And there's also German.
Star Wars ist im Moment verdammt beschissen. Ich hasse es verdammt nochmal. Zunächst einmal, warum gibt es überhaupt einen Ahsoka? Ich habe ein paar verdammte Screenshots davon gesehen.
Screenshots?
Ich habe es nicht gesehen und es sieht aus wie Müll. Es sieht verdammt nochmal nach Müll aus. Warum gibt es...
They have to slow it down because German, I guess, or at least the translation is slower.
Ist da einen verdammten Luke Skywalker? Verdammt, Mark Hamill aus der Zeit, als zu den Jedi-Rittern zurückkehrte? Ja.
I also have... I think this is Spanish?
Star Wars, c'est nul en ce moment. Putain.
No, this is also French. I had it in Spanish too, but I think I lost it. So, I thought that was interesting.
We know how to say Mark Hamill did not get paid in 3 different languages now.
Did he not get... Oh, he didn't get paid for the AI? Did he, license out his likeness, at least?
I'm not sure if she was even right about that. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's just what it says there at the end. Mark Hamill did not get paid. We know it now in English, we know it in French, and we know it in German.
Yes.
On Frank Skywalker Luftwaffe. 99 left top balloons. If he licensed it, then he got paid. I'm pretty sure he did get paid.
I think
don't know.
he
Maybe
should.
You know something we don't know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he got paid.
I believe he owns his likeness.
I know Indiana Jones got paid.
Got a little bit more time, probably about a half hour. Also, we want to start doing post shows again, but I'm not completely clear on what you guys would like to see in post shows. Back in the day, we used to just do more of the show during the post show, and then maybe at the end we'd bring in people to talk to us. We might start doing that, but also if there's any videos that we wouldn't normally watch on YouTube, like they're copyrighted or they have stuff that YouTube might have a problem with, send us those. Maybe I should start a new folder for post shows in the Discord.
When they did that riverboat fight, the race riot at the riverboat.
Yeah,
we should have done that as a post show.
We should have, because that's something I didn't want to play because there was pure violence in it. Man, when that's
the perfect type of stuff for a post show.
Maybe we should, even though it's not topical, just to watch it because it is crazy. How long does that go on for? The full...
you got to find all the bits and pieces of the videos. Okay. I don't know. It's kind of dead right now, but stuff like that will continue to happen. We should keep that in mind whenever we see that, to try and formulate a post show around it.
Honestly, we we did that one private show that was all fights, and I was like, man, this is great because some of these fights are crazy, and I wanted to play them on the show, but you really can't do that on YouTube anymore. But then by the end of a 3-hour private show where I just saw people beating the shit out of each other senselessly, at the end of it, I'm like, man, humanity is just fucked. Before cell phones, a lot of people would have tried to break that shit up, but now everyone is just filming it for their social media and nobody tries to stop it. And some people probably have life-changing injuries from a lot of those. Like there's stuff where people, I've seen so many videos where a guy is clearly knocked out and a guy just gets on top of him and just like pounds his face until it's just like a bloody mess everywhere, like rearranging someone's face when the fight has been over for like 2 or 3 minutes already. And no one does anything about it.
When I was like a kid in high school, I had this girl in our friend group and this guy was being creepy to her. And I stepped up to him, and then he went and got his brothers to come fight me. And then we got my friend's brother to come fight them. And the big brothers were having this big battle, and we were on the sideline. And the guy that initially was being creepy to the girl in our friend group got fucking cold cocked, rocked so hard by the older brother. And he was like not there afterwards. I don't know whatever happened to him. But he was like, he would drop down a couple of brain cells at least. He was slow. Like he got permanently rocked. Felt bad for him a little bit, but he could have just backed down when I got in his face. He had to go bring bigger brothers into it, and then we had to go get Keith the Haymaker. Keith the Haymaker laid him out.
Yeah. It's something else. Yeah. When my friend from New York came to Seattle and we were walking around downtown, he was like, man, we're in the middle of downtown. No one's honking their horn at each other in New York. Horns are constantly being honked. Like there'll be like traffic that isn't moving at all and everyone's laying on their horn at each other. And I'm like, the reason why no one does that here is because you'll get shot for doing that here. People, it's true. I've seen multiple news stories from the Seattle area where someone honked their horn at somebody and they got shot for it. So it's
the Wild West.
Yeah. Yeah. Like everyone here is armed. So like if you piss off the wrong person, they'll shoot at you. Like they don't care.
I think it's because we're more of a passive aggressive city too. Because I honk every once in a while, but after I honk, I do something to like emasculate the other driver and really piss them off. And I probably inspire road rage sometimes.
The only time I honk is like if the light changes green and it's like 10 seconds and they're still not going. But the reason for that is because everyone's on their phone. Like, yeah, I think like, I don't know for sure, but it seems like the majority of people are like using their phone.
I don't give them 10 seconds. If they're sitting there and it's green and I can tell their heads down looking at their phone, they get an immediate
all
honk.
The time.
And if they honk back, then I follow them with my hand on the horn.
See, that's that's too much.
The other day I had my cane. I was having trouble walking. I was pulling into a lane. And there was what's the emergency vehicle? The ambulance. There was an ambulance that had just drove by, speeding through, and I was gonna merge in after the ambulance passed by. And I looked when I merged or off the freeway. It was a corner. I looked. There was no cars behind the ambulance. The ambulance came through, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna come through. But there was another car that was speeding behind the ambulance, full of like young, probably drunk men, and they were in that lane, and I was going into the lane, and they were speeding into it, and they got really angry at me, and I'm by myself. I could tell there were 3 men in there. I was walking with the cane, and I was like, I had to hold myself back from escalating because I know that would have turned into a fight, and I would have got the shit knocked out of me because I using the cane and everything. Yeah, or worse.
But there's a guy that's suing the city of Tacoma right now because he got into an argument with this guy while he was driving, and the guy just like pulled out a gun and shot him and severed his spine, and now he's in a wheelchair. But it turns out that like a few days before that, he was let out of jail when he shouldn't have been out of jail by the Tacoma police, and he was given his gun back when the gun should not have been given back to him, and it was the gun he used to shoot this guy. So this guy's suing the city of Tacoma for it.
Tacoma is not good.
Tacoma's for being so much smaller than Seattle, it has like way more crime like per capita. It's crazy.
I have fun in Tacoma, but not that much fun.
Did you hear about the Burger Shack, and I can't remember the name of it. It's like a burger place, and their milkshakes were killing people. People were getting Frugals. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Like 5 people got listeria and died.
It was an improperly cleaned milkshake machine, and it had the remnants of the cleaner still in it.
Hank Chill says, aren't there lots of farms in Tacoma? Around it, maybe, but not. Like, Tacoma's a city. It reminds me of Toledo. It's a lot like Toledo. Like, the downtown is dead, and there's, like, a bunch of shootings. Like, and it smells weird, and they're like, into glass museums there. It reminds me a lot of Toledo.
Tacoma is
about the same size.
Just south of Seattle. If you fly into Seattle, you fly into SeaTac Airport.
It's like halfway between
the Seattle Tacoma Airport. Yeah, that's what they call it. And Tacoma was the secondary big city to Seattle. Everett is kind of like North Tacoma, not quite as advanced as Tacoma, but that's the north big city of Seattle. And then you go down, you get to Olympia in Washington, and then you go up and you get to Bellingham in Washington. And those are kind of, Spokane rounds them out. We have those 4 big cities up I-5 in Washington, and then we have Spokane on the East Coast with tons of other cities. But those are like the city areas in Washington.
Tacoma's only about 40 miles south of Seattle, but depending on the time of day, it could take like 2.5 hours to drive from Seattle to Tacoma because of the traffic is so bad.
Yeah. I totally left Bellevue out of the picture. Bellevue
Bellevue's growing.
Another big city.
It's mini Seattle.
It is a big city now.
Yeah,
it's a big city though.
Not really by population yet, but like when I was like, oh, I'm going to move to Bellevue, it's a suburb of Seattle. I pictured like every other suburb I've ever seen. And then I got here and it has like a fucking skyline and shit. And there's like 20 new high-rise buildings in the last 7 years since I moved to Bellevue, just in downtown. It's growing so crazy. I wonder what the population is of it now.
Hank Chill says Bellevue equals Bezosville. Is it Jeff Bezos? Is that what we're... I don't think Bezos had that much to do with the growth of Bellevue. He
did start Amazon here out of the house, but as soon as it became a real corporation, he moved it to Seattle.
Yeah, he did a lot to build up the South Lake Union area of Seattle.
Yeah, when you go there, that's where like magically there's like no homeless people. I think they shoo them out of that area. And like the apartments are really expensive, and there's really nice restaurants and bars just around like where the Amazon, like the spheres and all that shit. Look at the population
really
of Bellevue.
Dark down there.
Wow, Kirkland had this like crazy jump in 2010.
You have the population screen up?
Oh shit, my bad. Hold on. Yeah, it's... Then there's Redmond, which is where Microsoft is.
Yeah,
like...
They're all coupled around each other, basically. Kirkland, Redmond, Bellevue.
I moved here...
Same little area.
I moved here in 2016. And... Yeah, I mean, it's grown. Not like crazy numbers, but... Looks like people left, too. Looks like there was a decline in 2021. Probably pandemic shit. People had to move.
Pandemic.
Yeah,
They had to move, but also work from home was an option. So a lot of people were like, fuck this. I'm going to go work remotely from a very...
less expensive place
to. Could be less expensive. Could be the place they moved here from. Because a lot of people move here from all over.
Yeah. Redmond grew, though, post-pandemic from 2020 to 2021. That's crazy.
Yeah. Redmond is, like you said, Microsoft headquarters. Kirkland, Redmond, a lot of Indian people move here. Huge Indian population.
Yeah. A lot of them start off working at Microsoft. Yeah, so it's grown a lot, though.
A lot of the tech companies have huge like bases here in Seattle because of Microsoft. They want to be able to offer competition for the people who moved here. Like there's a big Facebook headquarters. There's like everything here. to keep to poach people basically without taking them out of the area.
Bellevue has a better skyline than Columbus, and Columbus has like 1 million people living there, and there's only like 150,000 people living in Bellevue. It's crazy.
Yeah, Bellevue was built by a businessman who didn't want to adhere to Seattle's rules.
That's true. No, yeah, and it's becoming like mini Seattle. Like most of the really popular Seattle restaurants have a Bellevue location too.
Yeah.
Wonder what this is interesting.
Bellevue is growing, bud. That's not just your opinion.
It's not just your opinion.
It's not just your opinion, bud. Bellevue is growing. With the poisoned Wendy's Frosties? No, was it Wendy's that Wendy's didn't poison nobody?
No. Wendy's allegedly, but this was disproven, had like a finger in a bowl of chili, like 20 years ago, but that ended up being a hoax. So
I remember getting a milkshake when I was a kid from AM/PM, and it had a bandage, like a bloody bandage in it. I don't know how it got in there.
Someone was wearing a bandage and it came up. Yeah, they shouldn't allow that, or you'd have to they should make it so you wear gloves over a bandage so it doesn't come off in the food.
I was trying to drink my milkshake, and I gave it a big suck because I was it was getting stuck. I was and I finally got it to break free. I went, and a bandage went right in my mouth, and I pulled it out, and it was it was dirty. It was so gross. Worst. I was a kid.
That would kind of turn me off on that.
Gave it a big suck. I know I was a fat kid though, so I would get grossed out by things, but it wouldn't last that long. I'd get hungry before I would get over it quick.
When I was a kid, I ate fish sticks, and yes, I was a gay fish, and I threw up from it. I don't know why. I don't know if I was sick or if there was something wrong with them. And I literally never ate fish sticks again. I ate other types of fish, but never actual fish sticks.
I miss fish sticks. I like them a lot. And then I went and I had some swordfish when I was in San Diego, and I don't miss fish sticks that much. Good fish is good. So just get some swordfish. Oh my God, it's so good.
Swordfish is like a steak fish.
Yeah, I felt like a goddamn king eating that. I was like, man, swordfish is probably my favorite fish.
It's a little more firm than other kinds of fish that you can eat with the side of a fork. You know? Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I don't usually eat swordfish, but I was like, I like swordfish. I have to learn how to cook it so I can make it at home. Wonder if I can cook swordfish in my air fryer. The password is also swordfish. That's the crazy part. If you want to see Halle Berry's boobs,
spoiler alert,
Swordfish. If you want to see Halle Berry's boobs in a comical fashion, watch the movie 43.
Spoiler alert. All right, guys, it's time. If you're here right now, you want to help us out before we move into the final part of the show here. Please consider sending us a tip train with your TTS and your lovely comments. Feel free to do that before we wrap everything up here, because we got to meet this goal before the end of the week.
Fat old guy says good fish is good. That's quotable. I did not like fish for the longest time, and it wasn't even because of the flavor. My dad was a huge fisherman. He would always catch big salmon, big steelhead, all types of good stuff. Great fish, but he wasn't the best at deboning them. So I'd have this nice piece of fresh out of the ocean salmon type stuff out of the water, ready to go. And then I would just get these fine little bones in my mouth. Yep.
Yeah.
It ruined fish for me. And it took me a long time to eat fish again. A long time.
Yeah, a lot of fish have bones that aren't connected to the rest of their skeleton, so they're hard to find unless you're really experienced with deboning fish. Because I try to do that. I bought a whole fish from
with cutting and gutting.
Yeah, I've bought whole fish from a fish market, and it just did not work well for me. Thank you for signing up for Patreon. I appreciate it. There's going to be some fun. So Spin Till You Spew is coming back too. Like I'm gonna take Jeff Holiday on, maybe even the last time in Spin Till You Spew, the resurgence, and we're gonna start scouting new competitors for Spin Till You Spew. If anyone's interested. The new Spin Till You Spew rules are going to incorporate a time limit, and then at the end, whoever did the least amount of shots will automatically win, because we need to do that for the sake of time, and it also ensures that no one dies. Because when it's just like keep drinking until you puke, like some people don't puke easily, and that can be a recipe for disaster. So we have to draw a line somewhere. Like
we should figure out a like a 10 pilot bottle flight, the drunken pilot flight or something. Just get like 10 of those little bottles.
But those will run out really quick.
Yeah, but like do it where they're all like, maybe one's Jaeger, maybe one's like, just curate the perfect 10 and then have people go through like a rapid fire, maybe one every 5 minutes or something, maybe one every 10 minutes.
What I was thinking about doing is like because it's when you have large enough bottles but very few liquors, it's easy to like ration them. But I want to set like a hard like 2.5, 3 hour time limit where if we reach that, it's like, all right, who took more shots, and then like that, whoever took the less amount of shots, they won more rounds, so they win. Or people can give up, or you can run out of liquor, because that was another thing you'd lose. Like if you, but then running out of liquor, it's so tough. There's so many variables. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think that drinking games are 75% drinking, 25% game.
Yeah.
So you gotta figure out the best way to get the alcohol in there in a way where people can't slow roll drinking. With Spin Till You Spew, it gets rough because someone can get on a roll where the other person sobers up, and it's like this goes nowhere at that point. It's like a teeter-totter of
I don't know,
person's getting really drunk and then the next person takes it back.
People enjoy it, so
they enjoy it because it's good. But what if we could devise something great? We need an aggro crag. Remember Guts?
Yeah, we've talked about Guts before, actually.
We need a Drunken Peasants aggro crag. What's the drunken equivalent of a giant mountain that kids climb for supremacy?
I don't know. Yeah. We'll figure it out. All right. We are, we got like 15 minutes left. What if I got something else here?
Cotton candy pound cake?
I do have this.
There's an ice cream shop down the street from me. I drove by and I looked in the window, and they have something called a cotton candy burrito. They take cotton candy and they put ice cream in it and wrap it up like a burrito. That's psychotic. When I get that feeling,
I'm starting to lose it. I'm starting to lose my fucking mind.
Again?
Here. Okay. I need to get some stuff off my chest. Okay.
Is it shit?
Every single month, I put out 110%. I give out the performance of a lifetime each and every single month. Each month, I redefine myself. I think of new ways to recreate my character, to recreate everything within this damn show, within the realm of Actualmania. I think of new ways for submissions, to try to be entertaining as best as I can.
You're a classic submissive, though.
I create and think of bubbles of ideas formed in my mind. I create
Bubbles
them
of ideas?
on video, edit them on my computer for hours on end. I submit them. And I say, here you go, audience. Here you go, people. Vote for what you think is quality enough. And what do these same people do? They vote for their favorites. And their favorites usually consist of, ladies and gentlemen, a guy who eats a Baconator off a title. A girl who likes to shove dildos down her throat. A guy who claims to have Kool-Aids in his veins. A rat lord, per se. A fucking masked man. They don't vote for quality. They vote for their favorites. They are nothing more than fickle people who don't care about the quality of content. They just want their favorites. That's fine. That's fine. It's not like I've been dealing with favorites for the past 3 years now. That's fine. It's not like I've been the one who was expected to knock home runs and yet always knocks grand slams out of the park each and every goddamn time. It's not like I do that every single time and every single month. Because guess what? I am the best actual Mania competitor there is on this goddamn show. No one can fill my shoes. No one can do what I've done on this goddamn platform. No one, absolutely no one can do what I've done on this show. But they want to say that I'm washed up sometimes. They want to say that I've lost my touch. They want to say that I've lost my mind all the time. You know what? Maybe I have lost my mind all the time. Maybe it's because due to the fact that I haven't been given the amount of respect that I am due at this time. I've been doing everything for this show for the past 3 fucking years. Not even 3, 4 fucking years at this point. 4 fucking years! But that's fine. Y'all want to pick favoritisms anyway. Y'all want to play favorites anyway. I was never anyone's favorite in life anyway.
You're my favorite-tism, Egghead.
Why the hell would I be favorite here? And you know what's really sad? You know what's really sad? When I bring this up, people around me, they say, you need to calm down, Eddie. You need to calm down, buddy. You need to calm down. You need to relax. You're going to pop a blood vessel. You need to relax. You're becoming an untrustworthy person. You need to relax. I'm an untrustworthy person. I'm an untrustworthy person mainly because I'm pointing out bullshit. Mainly because I'm pointing out bullshit in this system. Fine. Call me an untrustworthy person at this point. I don't care. I'm sick and tired of the bullshit that I constantly see within the realm. So you know what? And you know what's really even more sad too? This is the saddest part. I have already created gold for this month. I created fucking gold. But now it's in the bin where it belongs. It's in the fucking bin where it belongs. And it will never see the light of day because y'all want to be fucking fickle bitches. So
no, don't take away from us.
And at this point, you might as well you might as well wonder if I'm even going to submit anything for this month. Hell, maybe
wonder
I'll
if
even
Egghead's
pull
gonna
a
quit.
Hulk Hogan
Is
versus
going to be DONE done? This is a new development. Egghead might quit. Haven't seen this one before.
Hell, maybe I might even pull a Hulk Hogan versus Jeff Jarrett at Bash of the Beach. Because quite frankly, I am sick and tired of the lack of respect from the people in this whole realm. Whoo yeah, bitches!
And I'm sick and tired. Who told Egghead he could buy those glasses when he's been inadequately donating to the Drunken Peasants. You should not have bought those glasses, Egghead. That should have been a direct deposit into the Streamlabs. Oh my God.
So this Saturday, we're going to have the 4-way match. It's going to be for the Big Kahuna title, and the winner of that match
will sit in a filthy tub online for minimal fame and no money. I wonder why.
Oh my God. I don't know who said that, but wow. But yeah, so whoever wins the 4-way match that we're going to have this coming Saturday will go on to face one of the other champions at the end of the month. And it's going to be between Captain Kool-Aids, the Star Spangled Luchador, the Necromancer, and a new entry filling in for Lowbrow Jester. It's going to be John from Finland. And then after the match, we will announce who will be facing who at the end of the month, because we're going to have 2 title unification matches. So something to think about.
What you can rely on your old man's money. You can rely on your old man's money. Egghead, you told me you give 110%. Got to remind you, you won your title with a boost. You didn't even get enough percentage to naturally beat Star Spangled Luchador. You can't call the man out by name. You say a man in a mask. Well, a man in a mask shows more face than you are right now. You're a bitter little heel, Egghead, and I don't like the heel toast when I have breakfast. It doesn't dip well enough in my yolk. I want you to go back to baby face. Where's my Wonder Bread Egghead? Mad eggs? I don't like that omelet. You're just not all you're cracked up to be, Egghead. Maybe you should realize you were the favorite for the longest time. But if there weren't other people competing like you were the only one from the community standing tall, going against giants that never really showed up for the longest time. You're not the favorite because other people started showing up, then whatever were you? Think about that. Next, Actual Mania.
He'll be facing either whoever wins the 4-way, or maybe it'll be Magicus, or maybe it'll be Jespro. One of those 3 competitors, he's going to have to put his title on the line at the end of this month. So we could get Egghead versus Luchador. We very well could. We shall see. Yeah. All right. So we're going to wrap this up. Everyone should join the Discord if you're not in the Discord already, because that's where you can suggest content. And if you want us to use any content for either like post shows or whatever, that's where you should let us know, because that's where we look. We will see all of you back again here on Thursday. Until then, see you all next time.
Have a good night.
Good night. Oh no!
He called me sir and got me so stupid angry.
People are discriminating against wolves. Wow. They're laughing at us, at our stupidity.
And you better well learn to love it. In the beginning, there was nothing. And then there was the Drunken Peasants Podcast.
Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. From the strangest corners of the internet, gonna get TP'd by Billy and Ben. You know where you can find them at. Get ready, cause they're gonna kick your... Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants.